What is going on? It is your boy, Star King Gaming, as you can see. Now, you probably thinking to yourself, what is all this advertisement about? Well, let me tell you. Last year in 2025, I decided to start building my credit. And I remember I used this app called Kickoff. It was a wonderful program, but I never fully got invested into it. So I stopped using it. Well, around that time frame in August of 2025, I decided to really do some research, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to use Kickoff. I want to build my credit. Your credit score is actually more important than you realize. You want to buy a house, you need good credit. You want to buy a car, you need good credit. You want to get a perfect dream job, sometimes you do need good credit to get that job. Some places require your credit score to be over 650, and I didn't know this. All these times I was looking for a job at a bank, I might not have been getting it because of my credit score just wasn't there. And it kind of made me think like how much of my life I wasn't living because of my credit score being so low. So, that being said, I went and I did something amazing. I started this journey. Kickoff has been amazing. For as little as $5 a month, it will report to the Equifax Credit Bureau. Now, you're thinking to yourself, that only reports to one credit bureau, $5 a month. But here's the thing, it reports to the one. The one eventually does actually start building your credit through the TransUnion Credit Bureau. And I noticed a huge difference with my credit score. My credit score was 540 when I started this adventure. It is at 675, excuse me. Over 100 points, and all I've been doing is $5 a month. Nothing else. I have no credit card. I have no loans, nothing like that I took out. So it is literally just that. Paying the $5 a month has built my credit up over 100 points. Now I can't imagine what it would do if you did the $20 or $35 plan. So maybe look into it. $5 a month, it will not hurt you. There will be a link in each podcast for the Kickoff link, which will give us both a little bit extra money. Who couldn't use a little bit? You know what I mean? Gotta have a little bit of money. It will give you right now, if you use my referral code, it will give you $30 and me $30 if you sign up and become a member. And all it takes is $5 a month, and we can both get some money in. Thank you all so much for listening to these podcasts. I'll see you guys all on the flip. How's it going? I hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to talk about my giveaways. The only way the giveaways are going to work is if you guys actually participate, so to speak. So, what I need from you guys is actually relatively simple. You guys see over here this beautiful logo down at the bottom? That is Spotify. Spotify is a free program in which you can listen to my podcast, and they are also partnering with your boy Star King Gaming Presents to help push my podcast and to possibly make revenue. But here's the problem: I need your help. I need your help immensely. The only way this will work is if you guys are following my podcast and you guys are listening to my podcast on Spotify. So, that all being said, if you are following my podcast, then you could be entered into the giveaway. That's the only requirement to be entered. And how it will work, I'll explain all the details fully as the podcast goes on. It is super simple. I'm going to show you everything and anything that we are going to be doing, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, as you can see, first thing I need you to do is download Spotify. This is what it looks like. You see it down here at the bottom. That is the Spotify logo. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look it up. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to type in on the Spotify search bar Star King Gaming Presents, and you'll see this. It'll say Star King Presents Podcast James Moore. And then it's going to pull up like this. It's going to say Star King Gaming Presents, and it's going to say follow. It's going to have a bell. So you're going to want to click on the follow button. After you hit follow, it'll say following, and then you're going to click on the bell next to it. Now, what that does is it will turn on all notifications. Next thing at the bottom of the screen, you see that there's circles there. and it shows three dots. You're going to click on the dots, and then you're going to go to rate podcast. Now that you hit the rate this show, rate the podcast, give it a 5-star rating. This is what's going to help you make these podcasts get more money, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. Now that you've done all that, another way to get an entry is super easy. Send me a picture of you listening to a podcast. It'll look something like what you're seeing. And also, when you're listening to a podcast, to get even another entry, click on the actual podcast, scroll down, and you'll see where it says something that says leave comment. It'll look like this. It might say be the first to comment, whatever it may be. But send a comment, say anything. Kids are saying 6, 7. I don't even care. Put that on there. What the comments and all this does is it pushes my, think of it as like an algorithm. It pushes my algorithm further. It allows my podcast to be seen by more people. The reason why we're doing this is to help better the podcast and get more reach. So the more reach we get, the more possibilities we have of 5-star ratings. So that all being said, there's one last thing we need to talk about. And the last thing we need to talk about before we go into how the giveaways work is really actually super simple. You see how it says Star King Gaming presents James Moore, and then it shows the stars 5.0, and it shows the number 30. That is going to base off of how much the giveaways are. If we hit over 100, we will be doing 3 giveaways. But we won't. Let's say we stay at 30. Hey, that's fine. But we're going to do a $30 giveaway and a $15 giveaway. So for every giveaway, there's going to be at least $30 worth of giveaway plus the $15 giveaway. If we get to 50, it'll be 25. 60, it'll be 30. The second, it would be 50 plus, the 25. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. And you're probably thinking, how is this all going to work? Well, that's actually even more simpler, and I'm going to show you. Okay, you see how it looks? And I put random names on there. I put Buster, Hunter, Star King, no, Star Queen, King, and I did it on purpose. I put Maddie in there twice. I put Buster on there 3 times, Hunter on there 3 times. Now, this is not how it's going to be completely. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot more names. But what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle a couple of times. Boom. As you can see, it's shuffled. And then what I would like to do is super simple, you guys. You're going to see all this, and I'm going to be recording it just the same way as it is now, and I'll do a couple more shuffles just to prove to you that hey, I am shuffling. I do want to. I want it to be more visible because you can see the names. I don't know if you could really see the names actually. Kind of, sort of. But anyway, let me make it to where the only thing you're seeing is the wheel. All I want you to see is just the wheel. So I've already shuffled, so now I'm going to spin. Now the first person picked is Hunter. Now you notice how it says remove all instances or just remove. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, if I have like 10 entries, it's more of a higher chance to get picked. We do it by the process of elimination. So let's say we do have 103 people in here and we're getting towards the end. We're at 13. I'm only going to remove that one entry. And then once we get down to like the final 10, I'll start shuffling every time. So I'm going to do another one. Boom. Unfortunately, it landed on Star. So Star has one of their entries removed. And then, you know what? For every other shuffle or every other spin, I'm going to shuffle because it makes it a little more free, I guess. And again, that time it's on Buster. So Buster, boom. Now that's on 10. We're going to start shuffling every time. And the reason why is that way it makes it more fair. I'm going to do a couple shuffles. It's going to eliminate one of Hunter's again. internet might be acting up because we've been having earthquakes. Uh, I'm gonna make it a little bit there. Boom. Now 100 is officially removed. Shuffle again. Boom. And this is gonna happen. It's gonna be something that we're gonna be witnessing. And Star Queen, her only entry, I only put one of hers in for that reason. Because I just wanted to show. Maddie had 2 entries, and this will be the first one I think that gets eliminated. Oh no, Buster! Wow. There's her first one. Yeah, Buster's officially out. This is where it's going to start getting really good. King is officially out. So at least this time there's 3 winners. So let's say we hit 100. The reason I say 100 is because it'll be $100, $50, and then $25. If we hit 100, we're going to do 3 different ones. And it's going to be based off of that. So let's say we hit 120, it'd be 120, and then it'd be 60, and then it'd be half of 60, which is 30. So if we hit 121, I know that's not a good number. It's only going to be 120 and $60. I'm not going to do 61 because that's just an odd number. I don't like odd numbers. And I'll do $30 for the second one. However, if we hit over 200, which I highly doubt we can hit that, I really highly doubt. That's a lot. I am going to do both a $200, $100, and then a $75 giveaway. Well, I'm going to shuffle this up like crazy. Let's go for it. Let's see who the winner is. So the first one picked would be let's say it was $100. We'll say this will be the $25 winner, and that is Star. So Star officially won $25 in this situation. Now I'm going to shuffle this like crazy because this is where it's going to get really good. And it looks like Maddie would be the $50 winner. And then Buster would be the overall winner. And this situation, and I'm going to explain a little bit more in the details exactly how you can get entered and everything, because that way you guys have a clearer understanding. Now, the only rule and requirement to be entered into the podcast giveaway is simple. You have to be following the Spotify podcast, and you have to send me a picture of you following the Spotify podcast. You can send me all you want about the YouTube and all that, but if you don't send me that you are following on Spotify, you are not entered. So, rule number 1 is the only way you can be entered into the giveaway is you have to be a follower on the Spotify page. I don't care if you follow my gaming page at all. I can care less. You have to be a follower on Spotify. So, that's one entry. That's one entry right there alone. Just send me a picture that you are following my podcast. Now, another way to get entries are really easy. There are multiple different podcasts in there. You can send me a screenshot that you are following or that you are listening to each and every podcast. So for every podcast that I have posted on Spotify or YouTube is an entry or both. So you can send me you're listening to on Spotify, and you can send me the same one on YouTube. That's 2 entries right there just for listening on both. But you have to prove that you are pushing play, that it is playing, not pause, but playing. And that is super simple. That's an entry, each one. So you could literally, I just did a podcast covering some things, and like let's go back even further. The first podcast that we did to the return of Star King Gaming Presents was we covered the story time with Ruben. Let's say you listen to that one on YouTube and you send me a screenshot of that. You send me a screenshot that you're listening to it on Spotify. Boom. Those are 2 entries, and you get that 3rd entry because you are following. You have to prove that you are following the podcast. If you send me a picture of You listen to the podcast and you don't send me one that you're following, it's not going to count. So you can get multiple different entries. Also, since this podcast giveaway has started, which is technically it was June 1st, but I ended up posting a little bit late. And that's why we extended the podcast giveaway to October 1st. At the end of every single podcast, there is going to be a code phrase that I am going to say. You send me a message with those code phrases. So far, there's been a few of them. And let's say one of those code phrases was pickle juice. It wasn't. You send me a message saying pickle juice. I'm going to know what it means. You can send on my gaming profile, text me. You can Facebook me if you know my personal page. And that is an extra entry. So let's say you send me a bunch of pictures. Let's say you send me 10 pictures of all the Spotify podcasts that you listen to. That's 10 entries right there that you can have. However, let's say you forget to send me the picture that you are following. You're disqualified. You have to send me the picture that you are following my Spotify. And if you could prove that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, that is an extra bonus entry. So literally just for being a follower, you could get 2 entries into the giveaway. All you have to do is send me a picture that you are following my Spotify podcasts, and make sure you do give it a 5-star review, because if you do that, that adds to how many reviews we have. You don't have to if you don't want to. I get it. Some people are very finicky about that. But if you listen to me on Apple Podcasts as well, I will actually add that in there. But you still have to be a follower on Spotify. I understand that people don't want to have Spotify, but it is a free app, and they are willing to pay me for this, and they are willing to push my podcast even further. And I can only do that if you guys help me. So it's super simple. Those are the rules. Main rule is you have to be a follower, and that gets you an entry. Remember that. It's super easy. I showed you how to do it. All you have to do is just do it. Thank you guys so much. And I really appreciate it. The details of the giveaway will be announced fully into the podcast every single time you will see this. I'm sorry. I know it was long, but I wanted you guys to see exactly how I'm going to be doing the giveaway and how it's going to work. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys here in the next few seconds on this podcast. What is going on? It is your boy Star King Gaming with another edition of Star King Gaming Presents Story Time. And this week's story, we got a good one. But first, before I get into the story I'm going to cover, I want to start off by saying something. Before we get to the podcast, I want to talk about the previous podcast in which I talked about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. I had somebody make a comment, which I deleted, saying I was a sexist pig because I badmouthed the WNBA versus NBA, which is not what I did at all. I don't know hardly any of the women that are active in the NBA, with the exception of 4 of them. And one of them I know because she was arrested in Russia because she was smuggling weed. Well, actually, I don't think she was smuggling. I think she just had weed on her, and that being Brittany Griner. That was a whole fiasco that Donald Trump had to deal with. Then there's Sophie Cunningham, who is a beautiful woman. Does a lot of TikTok videos and always cracks me up on her TikTok. She's actually pretty funny. And of course, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, who have probably the biggest rivalry in basketball history and the potential to make WNBA popular. And they kind of have. But I'm going to say this. Before I get too far into it, I've made the comment that I do not watch women basketball at all. And that's not a knock against women. It's not a knock against WNBA. It's not for me. I'll be honest, I haven't watched an NBA game in probably about 5 years. That happened to be because COVID was happening and really not much else was on. I don't think I knew about YouTube Premium at that time and all the good, wonderful things that you can get on YouTube. Or all the wonderful things you can listen to on Spotify. Anyway, now to get serious. I did make a comment as I referred to the women as guys. I didn't mean like they were men by any means. I was actually referring to a group of people, not necessarily, and I know I should have said gals, which would have been the proper term, but I didn't. I'm sorry. And again, I mentioned that I only know 4 women, and I mentioned all 4 of those women. Again, I'm not saying what I said in general was right. I am just going to back up what I said with some facts. Let's talk about the facts. NBA has a total of about 206 million followers throughout all social media platforms. WNBA, a little less than 9, approximately 8.7. So NBA has over 200 million more followers almost. These are all estimated numbers based off of Google. I did my research on this. So therefore, I'm really talking shit. I'm not the only one that doesn't watch the WNBA that watches basketball. I don't even watch basketball on a regular, but I still know some of the. I know more NBA players than I know WNBA players. Sorry, I stopped watching WNBA a long time ago when Diana Taurasi started coming into the league. Nothing against it. Again, I'm not hating on it. Now, I did a little bit more digging. The average viewership during the 2025 to 2026 season, first seasonal game was about 1.78 million viewers for an NBA game. WNBA averaged anywhere between 794,000 and a million viewers. Now, there was an exception of a few games, the Fever versus the Sky, which drew about 2.5 million viewership, which is Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. So, again, people do want to watch that. And also, there's been a lot of things going on, and I could talk into long form about that. I'm not going to go too much into detail because we'll be here all day talking about women's basketball, and it's a subject that I'm not too familiar with. Again, WNBA got popular because of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Why? Because they're both amazing players. I mentioned it in the previous podcast. Angel Reese has got 1,000 career rebounds. Nothing to shake a stick at. She hasn't been in the league 3 full years. She's already hit that number, a very high number. Caitlin Clark is an excellent scorer and has done amazing things to the WNBA. She's actually made it more popular. And of course, there's a lot of things going on that we can talk about fully into detail. I'm not dogging any of these players because they could outplay me, all of them. I don't think there's a single WNBA player right now I could beat. I haven't played basketball in 10 years. So they definitely can outdo me. I'm a diehard Pistons fan, and like I said, I haven't watched the game in like 5 years, but I do know Kate Cunningham is doing a great job for our Pistons. I love the coaching staff. I love the players. They got a good team. I know they're a playoff contender. I keep up on that, but I don't keep up with everything. I don't know what their stats are. I used to be up all over that, but not anymore. Now, going back to the podcast that I said, I also said that I think Angel Reese is also one of the most beautiful women in sports in general. I said that very well. I said if I was younger, she'd probably be the type of girl I wouldn't mind dating. I have a preference. I like girls that wear glasses, and that's kind of my thing. But honestly, if I had to pick, I'd rather have Sophia Cunningham or Sophie Cunningham, however, whatever she goes by. However, I will say I love Angel Reese because she's cocky, arrogant. She's kind of like one of the boys. And when I don't know about y'all, but when I played basketball, I talked a lot of shit when I would play. Even if I was not doing well, even if my team was losing, I'd be talking shit. That's just how I was. I think it's a way that we play. It's just to have fun. We're not out there to, score triple doubles out there. We're not trying to be an Oscar Robertson. Oh, that's an old reference, but I made a comment about triple doubles and I'm known for them. I am also not trying to say that women's basketball as a whole is not for men, and I never once said that. The comment that was said was that I was a sexist pig, and that all I cared about was using women for their body parts. I never once said anything about using them for their body parts. Never once said that women basketball sucked either. That was part of the comment. They said that just don't like women's basketball. I never said that. I just don't watch it. I don't even watch men's basketball. Thing. I think that the WNBA is kind of in that gray area right now because they're starting to get hot. I have a feeling that, I don't mean that in a sexual way. I have a feeling that in the next 5 years, it's going to be at 8.7 million is probably going to be in the $20 million or 20 million range. Players are underpaid in a lot of people's eyes. However, when you look at the stadium capacity versus what they're selling out, I also understand why teams are not wanting to pay them as much as they think they're worth. Again, I am not saying that. I'm just basing the numbers off of what I see as far as revenue. I get why team owners don't pay their players as much as they should. I think women basketball players should be paid higher. Absolutely. Will they get paid higher? In a few years, I have a feeling yes. I think Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are going to be the ones that really set the tone for the future of the WNBA. And I think with their history, I think they can actually make WNBA basketball great. I would love to see them going at it in the postseason. I would want to watch that. I know a lot of people are hating on Caitlin Clark, and I can go into full detail about that. Maybe I will on a different podcast because this has nothing to do with this podcast that I wanted to cover. I actually wanted to cover a podcast about a few things, but because of comment, I decided I would cover that. So thank you guys so much for listening to this part of the podcast. Let's actually get into what we're here for. Let's get to the real podcast. Again, thank you. Okay, now this particular podcast, this is story time with Star King Gaming again. I know you guys have been actually really loving these wrestling ones. And I figured I would talk about some of the wrestlers I interacted with and also wrestled. Some of these guys I'd never wrestled, but I have been in the locker room with them, so I kind of feel like that's actually something that I can actually kind of touch on. As you see to my, well, on your screen, it's going to be left. Also on my left, but you see Kane, the big red machine. I never wrestled him, but I will say this. Kane is probably the nicest guy in the business. If not, he is the nicest guy, from what I gathered. He introduces himself as Kane, or as Glenn. As his real name, I believe, is like Glenn Jacobs. He never allowed us to call him by Kane. I remember specifically in the locker room, he was just chilling, sitting there, and I said, "Hey, Kane, how you doing?" And he goes, "Hey, my name is Glenn." And he like corrected me instantly, and he put his hand out to shake my hand and says, "What's your name?" And I said, "My name is Star King, obviously." And he goes, "Nice to meet you." And he never once wanted to be called by his wrestling name, which I thought was really cool because it almost made you feel like he was a friend. Now, I did wrestle for one particular company, and we got assigned to possibly be a part of the WWE. And he had been with us before. He'd been there a couple of times. I think one, he was recovering from an injury, and he just needed to get a little ring rust off. But I never wrestled him. Got to meet him, and then the next time I had seen him, it was the last time I seen him in person was actually at a WWE taping of either SmackDown or Raw. I'm pretty sure it was SmackDown. And he looked at me, kind of gave me a weird look. He goes, "I know you. Where do I know you from?" I said, "You wrestled at PCWA a few times." And he said, "That's where I know you." He was so easy to talk to, and he was like the nicest guy. Considering how big he is, like he's very intimidating. But on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best person ever, I'll give him a 9 simply because I never worked with him, but the interactions I had with him were simply amazing. Again, one of the nicest guys in the business, in my opinion. The next wrestler I want to talk about is the Big Show. I didn't actually wrestle him, but I was in the ring with him. He actually threw me out in a battle royal that we did. His real name is Paul, and that's what he goes by. Again, kind of like how Kane is. I think maybe it's like an old school mentality. I don't know. I didn't actually work one-on-one with him, as I said, but he did eliminate me from that battle royal, and that was actually really cool because he actually chokeslammed me through a table on the outside, which actually rates the impact, and believe it or not, was a lot better than taking a normal chokeslam. He was such a down-to-earth guy. When he came into the locker room, he walked around the locker room, shook everybody's hand, said his name is Paul, introduced himself. I remember I asked him. I said, "Just curious, why are you like not working for WWE?" Because he was in good shape. He just, I guess, what happened is he was getting too fat, and Vince McMahon got onto him about it. And the reason being is because of some of the things that happened to other wrestlers, such as Yokozuna. Of course, we all know he's passed away. Viscera, same thing. Like he was just looking out for the Big Show's health, and obviously the Big Show's still doing it. I will give him an 8 out of 10. He actually is kind of shy in the locker room, so therefore I didn't have the interactions like I did with Kane. He's a good person, a really nice guy, but again, kind of shy in the locker room. But I give him a solid 8 out of 10. He's actually a really cool dude. Next person is going to be Jake the Snake Roberts, as you can see. He's actually somebody who acted more like one of the boys than anything. Sat in the locker room, treated us as if we knew him. Like he acted like he was one of us. He came out and I didn't wrestle him. He just gave me a DDT. I was actually the heel, aka the bad guy, in the match, and he came out, dropped a DDT on me, and then threw a python on me. First thing he said is, "Are you afraid of snakes?" I said, "Depending on what you're talking about." And he smiled. And he goes, "I'm talking about a python, you fucking weirdo." And he goes, "Well, I like your thinking." He also had a very unique voice about him, and I kind of liked it. It was kind of like creepy but cool at the same time. Very, very professional in the ring. I asked him what I need to do when he gives me the DDT. He said, "Just drop with me, and hopefully I can get back up," is what he said. And I was like, oh, "Okay." He goes, "I'm not young like I used to be, kid." But very nice guy. Um, Again, true professional. Out of a scale of 1 out of 10, I'm gonna give him a 9 because of how awesome he was. I didn't wrestle him, but I did take a DDT, which is like probably the second coolest thing ever happened in a ring. As a wrestling fan that watched the '90s wrestling, early '90s wrestling. Again, I didn't actually wrestle him, but still, it would have been a 10 if we actually had a match, and he actually was decent to me. And I will say that little creepy voice he had, that real low creepy voice he had, was extremely cool but creepy all at the same time. I don't know how he pulled it off, but he was a little weird, and I like weird. Okay, first thing first, I want to say before I get into this one, I hate speaking ill of the dead. Okay, for the record. But the next person we're going to talk about is Road Warrior Animal. Again, I hate speaking ill of the dead, but I have to be honest. Working with Animal, and I'll say this: Animal was well past his prime. There's no doubt about it, and he was only with us for a few months. I wrestled him one time, and I knew it wasn't for me. He was extremely stiff with his punches, meaning he actually was hitting me pretty hard. And he's a big dude, and his slams, you felt like you were being slammed on concrete the way he would slam me down. It was horrible. I was legit hurting for like a week after. And again, he was past his prime when we got him, and so I'm going to give him that. But it was not a good time. And again, I don't like speaking ill of the dead. I never wish he would have passed away. He wasn't a bad person. I just really hated the fact that I wrestled him. I I will never ever want to wrestle anybody like that again. I'm being blatantly honest, and I'm sorry that I'm saying this. If I had to pick between getting shot in the head with a pistol and wrestling him, I might want to take the shot in the head with the pistol. Now, I'm not exaggerating. It was that bad. He was a horrible wrestler. I don't even know how he ever made it big in the business. And I'm speaking ill of the dead, and I don't like to, but I will say he was actually pretty cool in the locker room. He was nice. I remember wrestling him, and I told him, I was like, "Dude, like, can you like ease up?" And he goes, "What? You're a little pussy?" And I'm like, "Dude, you're like 300 pounds, and I'm not. I'm like barely 150 here. You kind of outweigh me." So I'm gonna give him a 2 out of 10. He was actually pretty cool. Like I said, in the locker room, after me and him got into it, he was actually still pretty cool. I remember he was talking a lot about his son, and his son, if I'm not mistaken, I believe his son made it in the NFL, played for the then St. Louis Rams, if I'm not mistaken. I remember him talking really highly of his son and how athletic his son is, and he thinks his son could be a wrestler as well, but I don't think he ever got into it. Now, this one is really sad. Full name Michael, what he went by. Trent Acid was actually probably one of the best talents I'd ever been in the ring with, and I'm being honest. He was literally the second best wrestler I ever been in the ring with. He was supposed to wrestle with us for about 2 3 months. I don't remember the exact term. It was supposed to be like 10 matches, but unfortunately, he had an issue with showing up. He only showed up for two. I got the pleasure to work with him during one of those matches. It was absolutely amazing. Really, he was such an amazing talent. Fortunately, in 2010, he would die of a drug overdose, and I knew that was going to happen. He was an amazing talent in the ring, but he had his demons. We, after me and him had a match, he actually went out with us boys, went out to a restaurant, and I want to say it was like a IHOP or a Denny's of some sort type of deal, but it wasn't that. It was like a smaller type place. I don't remember the name of it. And he went to the restroom and was doing lines of coke. Obviously, I know what that looks like. I never done it, and I happened to walk in, and he was doing that. And unfortunately, I knew he wasn't destined to be with us. But at a scale of 10 out of one out of 10, I'm going to give him a 10. He is literally the second best wrestler I ever wrestled. I wish I could have wrestled him more, and I wish he was still alive to be out there. It's a very sad story. Uh, I wish more wrestling stories were better. Fortunately, this was kind of a common occurrence for this business. So there's more deaths of people that are under 50 than I'd like to say there is, but he was simply amazing. Again, solid 10 out of 10. Now, this one, some of you guys are probably going to be like, who? Some of you guys might know him. Tom McDonald. He actually wrestled under the name All Star Tom. I believe I only wrestled him one time, and it was a Canadian show. We had actually a very solid match. I remember I went there right before I don't want to say retired, but never wrestled again. It was like probably about 6 months before that. I remember he retired to pursue a rapping career, and I wish I would have been able to talk to him a little bit more. We talked over our match. I remember he was the one that was going over, which means he was the one that was going to win. It's home crowd for him. Absolutely amazing to wrestle him. I wish he would have stuck with it because he was really good. Could have done like kind of like the John Cena gimmick when John Cena first came out. Again, my opinion. But I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 simply because we really didn't talk much. We went over the match. That was about it. After the match, we shook hands. Backstage, he said, "Great match." I said, "You as well." And he left. I don't know him very well. I don't know if that's who he is. He kind of gave me the shy vibe. But when I watch his music videos, I don't get a shy vibe from him. But maybe he was just trying to get through some demons himself because I know he's dealt with addiction, with alcohol and stuff like that. I know he's very clean and sober, and he preaches that kind of thing. Again, 9 out of 10 as a wrestler, 27 out of 10 as a rapper. In my opinion, I love his music. I listen to it all the time. Um, Shout out to you, Tom McDonald. Keep doing what you're doing. You're absolutely amazing. Paul Burchill is the guy you're seeing on my left. I never wrestled him, but I had an amazing talk with him back in 2008. WWE, as I mentioned, called and asked for some talent. Now, granted, they didn't want me because I was too scrawny. They called our promotion asking for 5 talent. They sent me along with some of the other guys who are great wrestlers for security guard purposes, but told me and another person that they didn't need us. Paul told me to stay because you never know what they might need. And the person that was in charge of creative at that time, I believe his name was like Mark Corona, something of that lines. Anyway, Paul told me to just stay and hang out. So I did. And he told me some amazing stories. I'm not going to repeat them without him being here because it's not my place to tell those stories. I'm going to tell my side of it. I felt like I made a friend in the business, which is almost impossible to do. And I wish I would have got his number. Me and him would have stayed in contact because I would have loved to have him on the podcast. It was just a one-time thing. He probably doesn't even remember me, to be fair. Told me some amazing stories. We sat with Kane, and he told me about the business. He told me some of stuff that he would recommend. He also made the comment, and I'll never forget it. Like towards the end, like we were talking, and I said, how long? Just curious how long you've been with the company." And he told me, I don't remember how long it was, but he goes, "I have a feeling I'm not going to be gone. I'm not going to be here much longer. I'm probably going to get cut here pretty soon." And I feel like not too long after that, I could be wrong. He did get released. I know he did get released for sure, but I feel like it was like literally like a few months afterwards. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10, and again, that's because I never wrestled him, but he was an amazing person, and I will say, a very good talker and a very good person to be around. I wish I could have gotten more information from him, like his phone number and whatnot. I would have loved to have kept in contact with him. He's an amazing person, but again, solid 8 out of 10. I didn't wrestle him, but he was a good person. All right, you notice something a little bit different. You notice the glasses, I'm sure. This is because we are recording at night, and I've been having headaches for some reason after I get done recording. So I said to myself, why don't I get some glasses that block the light from the camera, and that way I can actually not have a headache. But the final part of this podcast is simple. We're going to be talking about Just Incredible, and the reason why I did this one a little bit separate is because there's a lot that is going into it. I'm going to just go into it. That's incredible. So this is the story. It's not easy for me to tell because of had amazing interaction with him. And before I get to all the drama that is surrounding him, I want to tell my side of it. And maybe I'm not going to try to say I'm going to make him look better, but I am going to try to figure out what exactly maybe he's doing. Met PJ back in 2007, early 2007, late maybe 2006. He came to the promotion for what we call a one-off. And what is a one-off? Is sort of you just literally go one time for us. Not like you're wrestling long-term. You're literally just there for one day. And again, he did something that was really cool, very respectful. The same thing that a lot of the guys did, and that was he shook everybody's hands in the locker room. And I always respected that when people did that because it shows me that they respect the business, which is really cool, really nice. I I got an opportunity to see a side of him that I wish the world would see because he really showed that he actually cares more about the business than most people think. Now, looking at his life now, there's a difference in opinion, and I'll get to that. Back then, he was somebody that I respected. He was in a group called X Factor. One of my all-time favorite wrestlers is a wrestler named X Pac. I will always say that X Pac is one of those guys that they would have. If you can't have a 5-star match with X Pac, there's something wrong with you. That's how good of a wrestler X Pac was, and I always looked at Just Incredible to be kind of in that same category. If you can't have a good match with him, then there's something wrong with you. He was a solid wrestler until probably he got into Bill's days. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened. He did have a massive fallout to more so recent, and we'll cover all that fully into detail. Now, he came into our promotion, and I remember he like I said, he walked in the locker room, shook everybody's hands. Then the next thing he did is he went up to Tony and he says, "Hey, would it be possible for me to sell 8x10s?" It was just another way for them to make extra money. They'll charge like $5 for an 8x10 signed by him. And of course, Tony was like, "Absolutely." They always did it before and after the event. It was their way again to make a little extra money, even if they only charged like $5, and they probably paid $1 maximum for the 8x10. He still was very respectful and very polite. I will say he was extremely polite, even when he was talking to people in the locker room. I remember somebody asked him a question, and he goes, "Oh yeah, absolutely, I can answer that." And it really made me see a different side of wrestlers because this was that little gray area where kayfabe was still kind of real, and you're getting into a different era that like now it's all out there. You can watch WWE Unreal, and you can see all this stuff now. But back then, a lot of people didn't didn't like to expose their secrets. They kept everything sheltered, but he was one of a few guys that really took the time out to help others. And we'll see it with Maven. Maven, there's a lot of respect that Maven has for him. And again, I'm going to be covering that in a little bit. We'll talk in a little bit. Again, I'm not gonna go too much into that yet. Uh, I remember he was the first match on, which sometimes Tony did that so that way they can go home early. Um, Not all the time, but sometimes. And Tony, I remember telling him like, "Hey, if you want to stay till the end, by all means, please do. But if you're free to go." Handed him his his paycheck or whatever he handed him, and he said, I'm going to stay to the end because I want to get some more 8x10s if possible." Tony says, "Absolutely, brother," and thanked him. And he goes, "No, thank you, sir." I remember this all very well, that Tony said, "Hey, thank you so much for doing this." And then PJ was like, "No, thank you, sir." And again, very polite and very respectful. Two things that I respected. And now that man, I got some crap. I don't know what the hell that was. Anyway, now that I look at it, made me even hurt a little more knowing what would come to fruition, so to speak. Again, he was very polite, very respectful. I remember he put on a very solid match, and not like the best match I'd ever seen, and nothing against him. It was a very solid match, especially for a first match. And I remember when he came back, he sat down, and I remember he like prayed. I don't know, like it was like his way of like thanking God for having a successful match. And again, I don't know, I didn't hear what he was saying after he got done. He was sitting there and he was just he was drinking a water bottle. And I remember I asked him, I said, "Hey, can I ask you something?" He goes, "Yeah, what's up, brother?" I said, "Could you watch my match? And give me some tips." He smiled at me, and I'll never forget it. He smiled and he goes, "Absolutely, brother. I don't have no money to give you or anything." He goes, "No, no, no, no. Don't worry about it." He goes, "Don't. I already got paid. I'm good." And so Tony calls me, tells me my match is up next, and so what she always did, and grabbed me and whoever my opponent was, which I think I was wrestling a guy named Reno. Reno and Kino were tag team wrestlers, but Kino, I believe, was hurt at the time. So Reno was kind of doing a solo thing, and I remember Reno was about 6'3", 6'4", Samoan, and I say Samoan because he was huge. He was a big boy, and a lot of fun to wrestle, but a little stiff. But we still had a great match. We always had great matches, me and Reno. There was something about me and him that just clicked. Uh, and there's sometimes in anything, anything like even gaming, you just click with certain people. But me and him had a very close relationship. Um, so we get done with my match, and PJ standing at what we call Tony spot. Tony spot is basically, in a sense, the gorilla position. We call it Tony spot because of Tony Senior, not Tony Junior, not the promoter I worked with, but Tony Senior, who ran the company for about 15, 20 years at that point, but was just at that point where he wanted to be tired. And Justin was standing there and was shook my hand and shook the other guy's hand and said, "Great match, you guys. Great job." And then I said, "Any tips?" And he goes, "Brother, you got it. The only advice I can give you is you need to let the crowd dictate your match. Like when they pop, that's when you start, making your comeback. As soon as they start cheering for you, you make your comeback. When you hit somebody hit them again. Let them dictate your match." He goes, "Other than that, you did absolutely amazing, brother. Really great match." He goes, 10 out of 5-star match, or whatever he said, some of that lines. And I remember like sitting there like, wow, this is a guy that wrestled in WWE, ECW. I believe he had like 2 or 3 matches in WCW. But I know he's a main event star in ECW. He was their champion for a little while, and also wrestled in WWE and was a hardcore champion for them for a couple of times. Actually, might have been WWF technically. And I remember this all very well. We get back and we're sitting there, and he goes, "Hey man, I hate to ask this," and I was like, "Oh." I was thinking in my head, he's gonna ask for money, and I don't have it or whatever. You wouldn't happen to know a place where I can get weed, would you? I was like, honestly, no, because at that time I was actually pretty clean, and I didn't know any of the places. And it's not like today where we have shops everywhere in California. Literally, I can go to Dixon, which is a 10-minute drive, 15-minute drive, or Fairfield, which is a 15-minute drive, and get weed from a shop, and it's 100% legal. Um, he said, I just need it for my anxiety. I said, I don't know, but I know Big Zeke folks, so I would talk to him, and he goes, "Which one's Big Zeke?" I said, "The one you're sitting next to." And he goes, "Oh, okay." So they talk, and again, he was there up until the end. He left with us. He stayed and signed a bunch of autographs, 8x10s. And I remember I went up to him and I said, I get the discount, right?" And joking with him, and he goes, "Yeah, man, here, take one." He signed it, right? He goes, "What's your name?" And then I told him, and signed it. And I was like, "Yo, you didn't have to do that." And I was like, "How much is it? How much you charge?" She goes, "Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna tell you." And never charged me. Gave me it free. I wish I still had it. I don't know whatever happened to it. I think I lost it in one of the moves, but a really great guy. And I remember these things very well. And before I go into the videos, it's like I want to tell that side of the story because it meant a lot to me. He was an amazing person, and obviously things happen. I don't know what happens when you do heavy drugs. I've never done any heavy drugs. The heaviest drug I ever done is probably sleeping pills because weed is not considered a drug, especially here in California. Little bit, a little bit lower. Here we go. But the heaviest drug I ever done is weed, quite literally. And so that's why I don't know. I don't know how any of this is. I don't know how bad any of this stuff can be. But I know that if you're not clean, it does cause you to do things. And there are stories that were told, um, both in a book, both in a live interview, that he was the reason why plane was late. I don't know the whole story into full detail, but supposedly he was on the phone with Stephanie McMahon because they were waiting for him and somebody else. I believe he said it was X-Pac. I could be wrong. And she called, said, "Hey, where are you guys?" And they're like, "Oh, we're on our way. We're about 5 minutes away," but they were still in the hotel smoking meth. That was the story that he told in a shoot interview. How true is it? I don't know. I mean, I believe it because why would you lie about something like that? There are stories of him doing drugs and before matches, or stories of him being drunk for a match, showing up to events drunk. There was a few things that we're going to be covering, and I don't want to cover too much of it just yet because I'd rather wait till we see the videos. There's a few videos that I want to play, one of which is Maven reacting to a Pinfall and Pixels video, and the guy, that creator Glocky of the Pinfall and Pixels channel, actually reacted to that said video. So let's watch that reaction video, and then I want to play all a part of, and I'll put all the descriptions into the video at the bottom here of the video. All a part of Justin Credible being a scammer, and I'll let him tell his side of the story, and you guys can get a fair take of it.
Hey yo, what's poppin'? How's your mama? How is everything? It's your boy Glocky. We finna do something different today. First off, happy Friday. It's Friday. I got my Dirk shirt on. Dirk got a new album out, man. Free Smirk for sure. But we finna do something different. So last week I had somebody in my comments tell me that Maven was working with Justin Credible on a video about my videos, the allegations, right? So that piqued my interest. So today I get a notification on YouTube that Maven mentioned me in a post. So I go there and he mentioned me and linked my videos in the comments and the description. Dope as hell, dope. And then I start playing the video and then he shouts out my channel. That's crazy. I had this channel for a while now. I did music and then I did gaming, but I recently had a baby back in November. So while I was off work, I was like, I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna do some wrestling videos. I did a video on ICP's career, the rise and fall of WWF New York, and they really blew up, right? So to now have a Maven do a video on my videos is crazy to me, right? That is fucking awesome. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like, man, I work hard at this. I work hard on the YouTube. I work hard at work. I work hard at home with my family, right? Everything I do is for my 2 daughters, you know what I mean? I work hard for everything. Nothing was handed to me. I didn't scam anybody, right? Even if I had to grow some herb or push some weight, that's what I did, which is way more respectable than scamming people. We can respect a hustle. At the end of the day, everybody got to hustle one way or the other. So I don't expect much from Justin here. Hopefully he admits his wrongs and is humble about it, comes clean, is apologetic. I just don't see that. I don't see that happening, not one bit. He's an addict, bro, and addicts all usually have the same MO. They fast talk you, they talk fast, right?
Former WWE and ECW superstar Justin Credible has been accused of a litany of allegations. These range from no-showing events, scamming fans, and possibly even lying about health issues. And now,
so the leg thing, I called that out in my video. I questioned whether it was real or not. And the point I was trying to drive home there was, he's an addict, bro. After all the lies, after all the scams, after all the bullshit, everything you say or post is gonna be questioned, as it should be. And that was the point I was trying to drive home in my video.
I'm on my way to go confront him about it. Now, in full disclosure, I have to be honest. This is going to be a tough video for me. When I broke into the wrestling business, there were few people that I felt like I could trust, felt like that were on my side. But Justin, or as we all know him as PJ, he was one of the first guys I found myself in the ring with. One of the first guys I truly felt.
Look at that drop kick from Maven.
The YouTube channel Pinfalls and Pixels did 2 videos regarding.
Yo, that's awesome. That's awesome. Shout out to Maven for real. Funny story, if you notice, both those videos are a little over 12 minutes. That's because YouTube pays you more when the videos are over 12 minutes. And that little $50 that Justin scammed me for, let's just say I made a lot more money from them 2 videos. So thank you, Justin. Shout out to you.
Regarding the allegations against Justin Credible. And that is what we're going to be reacting to today. What's going on, Chase?
Chase.
Hey, nice to meet you, brother. Good to meet you. Thank you so much.
Hey,
Hey, thank you. Thank you for setting this up.
might be a newer one. I actually walked past it the last time.
Hey, what's going on?
Anthony.
Maven, nice to meet you, Anthony. Hey, brother.
Good to see you, sir. How are you? You look fantastic.
Likewise, brother. Likewise, brother. Good to see you.
Yeah, man.
How you feeling?
I'm fantastic, dude.
Good,
I'm
good.
dude.
Good. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, of course.
Come here. Chet, no, you. Come here.
Yes, sir.
You can hear Maven breathing. That's probably because of the adrenaline going. I don't know if they discussed what they were about to watch or if Justin ever even watched what they're about to watch, but I'm sure there's some adrenaline going from Maven, especially, you know, junkies are unpredictable. You don't know what they finna do. And that's his friend. So it's probably a little, you know what I mean? It's a weird situation. It's awkward. It's uncomfortable. So I'm sure he's got some little adrenaline going.
Hey, we're going to be going over some stuff. It's going to be hard. Are you okay with that?
Well, how hard?
Well,
He said, well, how hard?
just the allegations and stuff.
Oh, I told you, I don't mind.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Thank you, man.
Hey, listen.
Thank you.
You saw me as an equal before many people did. And I've never forgotten that. So, understand.
I don't have that much to hide, bro.
I know you don't.
I have kids. I just don't want to go too far.
I got kids. I got kids. Heath Slater has kids. Like, what is you talking about? What does that have to do with anything at all? I have kids. Feel sorry for me. We all got kids, bro.
But what you need?
Well, I just want to double check. Just wanted to double check.
Maven look like he on straight business.
Justin, PJ,
What's up, man?
I'm so thankful that you agreed to sit down with me. I know what we're going to watch is a little difficult, but I truly believe the world deserves to hear yours.
Bro, I've watched Maven do this type of video with other people where they watch stuff, and I never would have guessed that one of the things they'd be watching is my video. How fucking cool is that?
Side of the story, and the fact that you're willing to
It just
sit
sucks
down
it has to be
and
an
watch some
exposed
uncomfortable
video.
footage.
You know what I mean?
I think that means
Because I make a lot of other
that means
videos like
you're ready
celebrating
to take
stuff.
this
It
step.
just sucks it had to be
Thank you
something
so
like
much.
this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, brother.
No,
It's a
thank
pleasure.
you, brother.
Oh, not a big deal.
And PJ like did such a disservice to the business.
Oh, jeez.
Hold on. You saw Stevie and you said, "Oh, geez."
'Cause I already know.
Stevie's
No,
he's a friend. He's a friend.
He's a friend too.
Full disclosure, a good friend of mine.
He's a good friend. Well, he's a friend.
Okay, like Stevie
I
and
think
me.
he's got a bad idea of who I am. I think he bought into the ECW Just Incredible gimmick, and he said that to me once before.
Explain.
I think he thought I was that guy. I think
Yeah.
a lot of times when people actually talk to me, get to know me, they say like he's too nice, like that.
Yeah.
It's almost like a work,
Right.
And that's just not.
And he actually went out into the crowd.
So he tries to discredit Stevie here, talking about he's got a bad idea of Just Incredible. Stevie is talking about a specific incident that happened. What does that have to do with his idea of Just Incredible?
And asked the fans for money. And I had said that was BS.
I don't remember that at all, but that part, are we allowed to swear?
Yes.
I was
Be you.
fucked up.
Be you.
I was fucked up.
Okay.
If I lived with all of that in my, it almost like he took it more personal than I did.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, I get it. I fucked up, but you know, I was going through. I have no.
He took it more personal than I did. That's because Stevie respects the fans. That's because you gave the event you were both on a bad name. You kind of gave Stevie a bad name that night. That's why Stevie took it personally. And he should have called you out. What is this man's talking about?
No excuses. And a lot of this was a snapshot
Right.
of some bad moments in time on a 30-something year career.
Absolutely.
And
A snapshot of a lot of allegations. A lot.
I remember this now more because I didn't know this was what you were going to show me. But yeah, it's, you know.
I don't remember this. I remember this a lot more. Do you remember? Don't you remember? It don't even matter.
It was ugly. It was ugly. And I made my peace with the promoters and with people. And it's like, what else are you going to do? You're going to keep bringing it up?
A Facebook post just from January 31st, 2024 stated, "Just wanted to give you all a heads up. Just Incredible is baiting fans into buying Just Found merchandise, then never sending the orders. He wants you to cash out money, then excuses, and then blocked when asked about it."
Did that ever happen?
Did it happen?
Yeah. Did it happen?
But that's the thing is, and this is what gets me crazy, and this is why people
Yeah, it happened, but here comes some excuses. Goodness gracious.
blocked. First of all, there was never any.
And here's why I blocked them
swear
all.
on my children.
Because they called me out.
3 kids.
I go to church every Sunday. Believe it or not, whether that matters, I believe in God, and I don't believe in bullshit. I did all that stuff with the best intentions, and at times I would, and especially with promoters, this pissed me off a lot. But with the merchandise stuff, I would sell this stuff very cheap, and for example, $40, and then by the time you get $40 on Cash App, it ends up being 37 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I get the stuff ready, and then, you know, by the time I buy food, I don't have the
money to ship
to
it.
send it. And it
Damn.
got
So these people couldn't get their merchandise that they already paid for up front because he bought food and Cash App took a few bucks. What?
I wasn't ready to do that. I wasn't equipped to do that. And then the thing is about the fans, and I don't like to call them marks because
I don't know what he's equipped to do, to be honest. If you can't get paid for something, package it, take it to the post office and drop it off. I don't know what you're equipped to do if you can't even do that.
that's not fair. But a lot of these people that do this are so entitled. They started talking. They posted the cute shit.
Yeah.
But they didn't post, you know, you're this, you're that. Like, they feel free to, you wouldn't talk like this to me in real life. You'd be like, and I've given a lot of these fans my phone number and told them, hey, give me a call. Let's work this out.
Yeah.
So we supposed to call you so you could lie straight to our face after you blocked us. That's what everybody's supposed to do. That's crazy. That's diabolical. That's crazy work. And he gonna call people entitled, bro? That's crazy. They spent money with you. People work hard for that money. Of course, they are entitled to what they paid for. Bro, crazy.
To no avail.
We're diving into a darker
He is straight
chapter of
goofy.
his life. One that involves scamming podcasts, YouTube channels, promoters.
And then not showing up for podcasts is ridiculous. That only happened one time, or maybe a second time where something happened. And it's like, bro, I'm
He don't even know how many times it happened. He done lost track.
You offer to reschedule?
of course. But then again, they go right online because
Yeah.
they already have the impression that I'm trying to fuck with them or screw them. And then they start talking shit.
Yeah.
And I don't tell you, if you ever notice, you can go
They have the impression I'm gonna do exactly what they think I'm gonna do and fuck them over. What a mindset. That is nuts. This man is just a straight liar, bro. He's straight cap. That's all he do.
up and down my Twitter. I never badmouth anybody. And what about the promoters where I show up? I
You're not in a position to badmouth anybody at all. I wouldn't think.
do the match, and I'm owed $500, and they no-show me entirely.
I've had it happen too.
I don't go online
Yeah.
and talk. It makes me laugh because they don't have the. I don't want to
No.
swear too much, but they don't have the fucking integrity to say it to me. They'll go and do some. So of course I block people. I don't need.
So since these people can't fly to wherever the fuck Justin live and say whatever they saying to his face, they don't have integrity. But scamming people out of their money, you have integrity? Bruh, make it make sense. The math ain't mathing.
See that? People want to get a hold of me. You can email me. My email is not blocked. There's so many ways to get a hold of me.
Instagram. I sent you a message on Instagram.
He's like, send me a carrier pigeon, some smoke signals. Bro, you blocked him and now you expect him to reach out to you, phone number, email, Instagram, boo boo boo? What is you talking about?
And within 30 seconds,
Yeah.
you text me.
I am not blocked. It's just, it is what it is. And look, are there some things I could have done better? Of course. Do I feel bad? Yes, because people didn't deserve that. But brother, it's not like this big fucking industry. If I made $300 or $400 and didn't send shit, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, if those people want.
So if you didn't spend $300-$400, he don't care. If he scammed you out of $50-$40, that ain't shit, right? To some people, $50 is a lot. To some people, like Justin, $50 may be all they have. And you don't feel bad for taking that from them because it's not $300-$400? Are you fucking insane?
PolaccoPeter73@gmail.com. I don't have cash right now to do it, but we'll work something out. If you want it, you deserve it. You paid for it. I'm embarrassed, but there's nothing else I can do. And again,
You should have sent it when they paid for it. Some of the stuff, aka videos, takes 30 seconds to record a video and then email, right? How much does it cost you to do, Justin? It costs $3. The shit is free to record a video and send it in an email. It don't cost you nothing. Like, what did you, and now you expect people to hit you up on this email to get what they're owed, but you can't pay them back because you ain't got no cash. Bro, you is crazy. That is wild.
I'm not trying to do the scams. Even that word hurts my feelings because there was never an intention of a scam. It's not like an operation.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just feed my wife and
Yeah,
kids.
dude.
And you think like the first thing I'm going to worry about is I didn't get my shit Friday. Well, Pro Wrestling Tees also doesn't send your shit in 2 or 3 weeks. Believe me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, a lot of it could have been done differently.
Really? It takes Pro Wrestling Tees a few weeks to print your shirt and ship it. So give me a few weeks. Don't expect it to be sent that quick. What is you talking about? You were not Pro Wrestling Tees. You were not fulfilling hundreds of orders a day.
All the ways. If you meet me in an arena or anywhere in life, you could ask anybody in this build, anywhere. I'm a good man. I'm an honest guy. I have flaws, but in person,
He's an honest guy. He really said that with a straight face. This man's is bugging.
and that's why, everybody still loves me in the business, that, the boys. I'm not a bad person. I've done some things that I'm not proud of, but geez, not to, when people make a piece like that, if that stays in my ether, then forget it.
The earliest example
Make a piece like, Justin, all I did was compile all the stories all the screenshots and make a video about what you did. And then the second video was from a book, all compiled about somebody's time with you. Make a piece like this.
Example I can find goes back over a decade, where he scammed a fan named Roy D.
Do you know
No,
who?
no, a decade, oh, dude. I barely know anything that happened 10 days ago, and that's not to use it as you know, some kind of way to just dismiss it. But 10 years, oh, dude. And also, who's to say that I didn't do it? Because I bailed out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and if I went to do a piece at my local post office and say how many, for example, what I saw there real quick was a kendo stick. How many, they knew me for sending out kendo sticks. So even if one goes bad, I mean, really, dude?
Seth Case.
Sorry, Roy D. He did send your kendo stick. He didn't give you tracking. It just got lost in the mail. Just believe him, okay? I feel bad for Maven right now. I feel like Maven knows that this guy is just talking bullshit and straight capping. And Maven, like, he's doing what the person doing the interview should do, right? Nodding his head, moving it along, right? Trying to stay on kind of on Justin's side so, you know, Justin doesn't shut down the interview, boo, boo, boo. I feel bad for him, though. I feel like you can see it. Maven knows that Justin's on bullshit.
Said that he bought a book from Justin and that he promised over and over he would send it, even putting more up for sale in the meantime, but never shipped.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to balance life in this. I was trying to hustle in a positive way.
Right.
And I got in over my head. And I didn't, my wife said this to me and she yelled at me too, because we don't need our kids listening to this shit. She said to me, she was, PJ, you have to take a ledger.
That's a good idea.
Well,
Yeah, it's a
I
good
never
idea.
did this. So
He had an epiphany. I should keep track of the people that pay me for stuff. Bro is slow.
I was just like, yeah, bro, you sent me this thing. Okay.
I'll remember.
Dude, I'm looking at this shit and I'm like, yeah, Jill, we'll mail it out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, hey, we gotta mail this out. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I also need $10 to eat. We don't have that. Ask them for more money. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Then it's gonna look like a fucking.
I hear you.
And then it's just, I'll get it next week when we get the Social Security check. And then I just got in over my head.
And he now won't buy from any wrestler, if not in person. Not a great guy.
I feel sorry. I feel bad.
I feel bad, too.
I feel bad for Seth because here's why. Seth was a fan of yours. Probably isn't
No,
anymore.
of course not.
And
I wouldn't be either.
the relationship went
Yeah.
bad both ways, and it did not need
Do
to.
you know what I'd be willing to do? If these guys, honestly, maybe I'll set something up. If they were to come to me and I'd have my people, like, this is what we got to do, and send it out, I would.
Corey B would comment that dude's
Yeah, right, bro. You quit
a
playing.
complete carny. Paid him to sign 200 cards and he wouldn't mail them back. Jazz called him and told him to quit dicking me around, and he finally sent them.
Who's Jazz?
We were wondering that. The only Jazz I know is the wrestler, the female wrestler.
Yeah.
Did you
I
have
have the cards at home.
Did you have a relationship with Jazz to where she
He still has the cards? What? My mans, you can't spend the $10 to ship them?
call you
No, I
if
haven't
you
talked
did
to
not?
Jazz in 20 years.
Me neither.
So I have no idea who this is.
I didn't know who it was either. The only person I knew of was the same one that Maven said, and that's the wrestler Jazz, who I said in the video.
And you say you do have
But
the
he
phone?
still got the cards?
Again.
Comment.
There was one gentleman, and I actually became friends with him, that didn't get something, and I made it up to him in spades. And now we're like, we're cool. And when I see him, we talk, and so it's not. I'm not trying.
So you fixed the
win
situation.
anything.
Hey, so you fixed the situation.
There you
Whatever,
go. Man.
A Facebook comment
Whatever,
from
man.
Deborah L said he just posted a hopefully stock photo of a necrotic diabetic leg on Twitter, asking for people to send him money, saying he'll send signed 8x10s in return.
Of all the stuff that we saw, this was the one thing I was like, I
Oh yeah, that's a shoot.
I have to talk to him about this.
And I'll show you the leg. It's still there. It's fucked up, and I'm suffering from it.
That is
People were talking
disgusting,
about
bro.
The leg, it wasn't his, written out this, that, yada, yada, yada. You just showed us.
I just needed help for medication.
I just can't see how somebody with a leg like that would be ring ready as Justin says he is.
Now I'm getting angry.
Don't get angry.
No,
Don't get angry.
Well, it's a little-
Look, his
it's
cheeks getting
something
red. He
to
getting
do with
angry.
That, you know, this is a bunch of, you know, it's really sad.
What's making you angry?
You know what's really sad is the fact that people can't believe anything you post nor say because of all the lies and scams. That's what's really sad. The fact that we have to question everything.
What's making you angry about
That
it?
they're just saying that, how could I be ring ready?
Yeah.
And how do you know? And they don't understand that after we give all our lives to this and decades of it, that there's nobody there for you.
And there's no landing zone. There's no.
I don't have-
There's no parachute.
Nope.
Did you or do you currently have health insurance?
No.
You do not. I understand.
There's reasons. My son is disabled, and he gets Social Security, and he gets health insurance through the state with my wife. God forbid I fuck his shit up.
Right.
He brings up like his kid's disabled or her kid's disabled quite a bit on Twitter. Here, I feel like he's doing it for sympathy. Feel sorry for me. I have this, you know, my son's disabled or my kid's disabled or whatever the case is. Like, I feel like that's what he's doing, and that's sad.
Just leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
That's the thing. This is going way deeper than a fucking $40 8x10. And you know what I mean?
It's way deeper. It's everything you did. So how deep it is because of you. You dug the hole.
And they have no idea.
Michael S. said he's done this before to GTS Wrestling. Took the man's money and never showed. Then blocked Grim.
What is GTS wrestling?
Oh, that's some backyard wrestling
Okay.
shit. And this cocksucker is a mark, and I worked for his backyard federation for free. And then when I wouldn't do something or other, he got mad at me.
Then he got mad.
Yeah, literally a backyard federation. He's a backyard wrestler.
Yeah.
I don't really watch Grim Toy Show, but that dude has a mad following on YouTube. I ain't even gonna lie to you. So, you know, shout out to him. Much respect. I respect all hustles except for scammy people. So it's crazy that Justin is trying to discredit this dude for being a mark. This dude is a hustler. That's what he is. He's hustling. You know what I mean? And then, Backyard Federation. The dude has crazy subscribers on YouTube.
Nothing to do with the business, the real business.
And there are other promoters also putting Justin on blast for pulling this stuff.
Is that Mario Mancini?
I think it is.
That cocksucker brought me on a fucking thing, had me there for 2 days, and with
Like a signing?
promoter. Yeah, and he fucking went. He talked a bunch of shit, dude. These guys are all fucking bottom feeders.
Well, they're all out for themselves.
They really are.
A couple years ago, I had a guy book me, and he didn't. You know, we came up with a set price, and he didn't make back on the return
Right.
what he thought he should have.
Sure.
So of course he starts talking shit on me.
That's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
And I did. And you know what? The next time I reached out to somebody. Hey, the big event's coming up.
That's not what happened. The people in the video weren't complaining about the draw from Justin. They were complaining about him being intoxicated. That's what they were talking about.
Do you have a table? Babe, I hear you're not pulling this much anymore. So you know what I did? I filed it away back there. Okay.
After my last video, I received an email from somebody who claimed to have managed Just Incredible.
Did you have an agent? I've never had an agent until now.
No, I don't have an agent.
I've never had an agent until now.
No, I mean I have people that help me, but not like an agent.
So there was probably never nobody in his circle, officially an agent or, manager, boo, boo, boo. It was probably just one of his peoples and, just a homie that was taking care of whatever the booking or whatever the case may be.
Never in my life.
Not only did they manage Just Incredible, but they wrote an entire book about their time doing so.
When I was watching this, I was wondering if this was just this guy's way of promoting this book.
Yeah, I have
So-
no idea who this is.
I want to know. I want to know from you.
This was a documentary that I was told I was going to be.
So that ain't my book. I wasn't trying to promote this book. I put a link down in the description where you could actually read it for free digitally. And the book was made quite before my video was made, like quite some time before. So obviously, if somebody's bringing attention to Justin scams, and if I'm sitting somewhere and I have a whole book about it, I'm probably going to bring it to their attention. You know what I mean?
On,
Okay.
and it never came to fruition. I go,
The book and the documentary were two different people, by the way.
fed a bunch of bullshit. We shot a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
They paid me $500 a week. They were supposed to pay me for the entirety, and then funding
Never turned out.
Never turned out.
Do you know
They
what
stopped working?
What the documentary was supposed to like? What was the subject matter?
Just like me recovering.
Okay.
I mean, it was not a real documentary. It turned out being a work.
Gotcha.
And this guy who was
AKA, it was about Justin recovering, but he never recovered, so the documentary never came out. Simple mathematics.
filming it was, you know, it was a local guy that did movies.
So he was filming it. He was going to try to sell it to someone.
Yes, but it was nothing. Nothing came to fruition, and I certainly didn't have an agent.
Gotcha.
You know.
The book is called Wrestling with Justice by Nathan Ward.
Oh,
Just-
this kid, I do know Nathan Ward.
Okay.
He's a skinny 18-year-old who lives with his mother and father.
Okay.
No disrespect, he's a Mormon.
Okay.
But he's out of his fucking mind.
Have you had?
So he immediately tries to discredit this Nathan Ward for being young whenever this happened a long time ago. We were living with his parents at 18, which most people are still living with their parents at 18, and being a Mormon, no disrespect, but all disrespect intended. That's crazy.
Communications with him?
I haven't spoken to him in 15 years.
Did you do anything with him
No.
for the book?
No, not a single thing. He was acting like he was going to do all this stuff and to help me out. He was just a kid, and I was like, he had no idea.
Gotcha. Was he ever representing you in any way in 2008?
The only thing, he wanted to get in the business, and you know, he offered to drive me to shows.
Okay.
And in turn, I would help train him in, like, you know, he wanted to learn about promoting.
Gotcha.
That was it.
Gotcha.
And he was a weirdo, and he just a bad kid. He was a kid.
Okay.
And he wasn't welcome in locker rooms. He has a horrific reputation. Nobody wanted him around. And after
He wasn't welcome in locker rooms. The kid was 18, supposedly. How much of a reputation can you have at 18? Like, what did you talk about?
a while, you know, I was just like, I can't do this.
Nathan describes Justin Credible and his wife as some of the most notorious con artists and drug addicts that he has ever encountered.
My wife, we just had a child
Right.
in 2006, so he's 2 years old, and I hate to say this, and that would make, I mean, he's disabled. So my wife is the
Again.
best mother in the world dealing with a disabled. We're druggies now? Really? Like, what did we smoke a little pot? That's druggies?
So I uploaded a video that the author of this book sent me of a shoot interview with Justin Credible that he talks about in the book, and he actually dug up the footage because I'm like, man, is there any evidence for this, right? And 100% there was. Justin in the video admits that his wife overnighted him pills to Japan. She is willing to send pills through FedEx nationally, federal offense, internationally actually, federal offense, but all she does is smoke weed. Man, quit playing with me.
I haven't done pills. I haven't done anything hard in over fucking 15, 20 years. It's ridiculous.
According to Nathan, Justin's first firing was due to repeatedly lying to Stephanie McMahon, claiming he would be en route to a chartered flight but never actually leaving his hotel.
I never had a relationship with Stephanie. You know that.
That caught me off guard.
know that.
Hold on. That caught me off.
He probably never personally talked to Stephanie, but if she was running shit about that time, she probably would, have an idea of where her wrestlers are, what they're doing, if they're no-showing, and would probably ultimately be the one to fire them. I'm just saying.
Guard. I read that, and here's what I thought. He had a way different relationship with Steph than I did because A, she never knew when any of us was en route for a chartered flight. In my time in the WWE, there's only been one of the boys that I know had Steph's number.
Yeah.
Nathan met up with Justin at a wrestling
Not even funny.
dojo to deliver the money. From there, they got into Justin's beat-up Buick.
Beat up Buick. I never had a Buick.
Nathan then says that within moments,
I never had a car. Never mind, I could have been in somebody else's car, or could just be lying.
the money was used for drugs.
First of all, how would you know the money was used for drugs?
For another.
How would you know that? Hey, bro, I'm using it for drugs. You've been around the block.
Yeah.
You're going to tell anybody?
He's trying to get Maven to believe him, but in the book, the dude was still with him in the car when they purchased drugs. If you know anything about a drug addict, once they get their money, they're going to go straight to get the drugs, to get their fix, right? They don't care who's with them, and especially if it's a kid, right? 18-year-old dumb little kid, who cares, right? He sees me as an idol, so you know what I mean? So that's how he knew they bought the drugs. He was still with them when they bought them.
buddy, anything?
Not a soul. I remember back during my pill days, and I kept that as close to the chest as anything in my life.
And that was my thing.
I told nobody.
Yeah, that was
I
my
didn't
thing,
tell.
too.
I didn't tell my live-in.
Nope.
I told nobody. If I wouldn't have been arrested for it, I would have went to my grave with that secret.
Yeah.
I was functional.
No, but right.
And I could get away with it.
Sure.
I used to go on HSN. I used to go on air, peeled out of my mind.
No, I know.
And
I wasn't, yeah.
So you get it.
Yeah, of course.
Nathan emailed me and said that he plans on talking to a district attorney to see if there's anything that they can do about Justin's scams. But I wouldn't hold my breath. And honestly, who cares? He will be a broke loser, whether he's at jail or...
That's dope.
PJ, give me your overall thoughts after seeing what has to be tough footage to watch.
I felt worse for the guys about the $40.
Yeah.
Okay, because those guys didn't deserve that.
Right.
You know, and I never.
Nobody deserves to be scammed. People work hard for their money, not Grim, and not the people you supposedly feel sorry for over the $40. Nobody deserves that.
Never intended for that to happen. That being said, the Nathan Ward stuff is what really got me, because here's a kid who, first of all, I haven't even thought about in 15 plus years.
This was not.
If you read the book, which I did, specifically the Just Incredible parts, there's a lot more parts, and it's not all wrestling related because this dude, he did like music stuff too. It's very detailed, and it's not just Incredible. There's stuff in there about Mickey James, Roddy Piper, all types of people. And like I said, there was evidence to back up the stuff in the book, such as the video shoot interviews he spoke of. And then further research I did about like the wall guy. So there's a lot of credibility to the book, certainly a lot more than to Justin's name.
The PJ that I remember. And I wanted to see firsthand
Of course.
if this guy was true or if this was true.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did. But I truly believe in life, everybody deserves a second chance. It's been 2 weeks since we had a chance to sit down with Justin, and Justin addressed the allegations and admitted that changes were necessary. Necessary not only to better his life, but the lives of all those around him. And I left excited at a new opportunity and hopeful for the future of Just Incredible. Sadly, I've recently received information from a source that I trust indicating that Justin has not changed, and leading me to believe that there may have been more truth to the allegations than Justin led on. This source informed me that Justin has already been a no-show on several commitments he was scheduled for, and even asked to borrow money with no signs of repayment, followed by a litany of excuses. Personally, this does sadden me. And it doesn't sadden me because Justin owes me anything. He doesn't. It saddens me because I recognize Justin has scammed fans and he has lied to promoters. But the real reason it saddens me is because I recognize just how fleeting second chances truly are. And I know that one day Justin's second chances are more than likely gonna run out. I will always be Justin's friend, but he has wronged people, and it's up to him to make amends. Justin, the ball is in your court.
What a great video. Wow. And in the end, that's low-key kind of sad. Maven tried. He really tried. That is his friend, and he did what he's supposed to do, what a friend should do. And I'm sure he tried and did a lot more than the video showed to try to maybe help Justin. But like you said, ultimately it's up to Justin. The ball is in his court. He has to want to do it. It validated my videos, sure. It just sucks that Justin couldn't man up, right? And it sucks that Maven was excited for it maybe to help change and for him to, you know what I mean, not change. So that kind of sucks. But man, what a great video. What a great video. Maven did what he should do the entire interview. He was nodding and, you know, agreeing with Justin on a lot of things, but that's what you're supposed to do in the interview, right? Get him to keep talking. Great video. Super, super, super shout out to Maven. I appreciate you, bro. For real. Like, it's crazy. Just a wrestling fan, you know what I mean? I appreciate all wrestlers. I really do. And that sucks that Justin can't man up. That's one person that I can't respect or appreciate. But yo, let me know what you thought about Maven's video. I really enjoyed it. I really did. Was it groundbreaking from Justin's perspective? No, it really wasn't. Nothing new. So Maven did bring it to everybody's attention. Maven did confront him. Something a lot of other people have not done. So in a way, Maven did hold him accountable. Like I said, shout out to Maven, not only for featuring my video and bringing attention to it, but shout out for respecting the fans. Thank you. And y'all, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Glocky, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Now that was just part one, and I want to cover a few things that were said. Justin basically admitted to scamming fans, taking money and not sending the goods. And there's another video that we need to cover because Stevie Richards, who claims that Justin's still a friend, and he goes on a little tangent and about the video, and I thought it was pretty funny because one of the comments that Justin made was Maven made a comment first. He says, "Oh, Stevie's a friend," and Justin goes, "Yeah, Stevie's a friend." Then he goes, "Stevie's a good friend," and then Justin was about to say Stevie's a good friend, and then cuts himself off and says, "Stevie's a friend." And I thought that was pretty interesting, you know, because obviously he's saying that Stevie's just a friend, whatever. Anyway, I want to talk about a lot of the things that were said in this video. You know, he admits that he didn't keep up on things. He didn't have a quote unquote ledger. Also, somebody claiming to be an agent. It might not have been an agent per se, but they were working for him. And I believe Nathan Ward's stories just because of what I've been reading. I actually read not the whole book, but again, the same thing that Glocky did, which was a part of the book, which was only about Just Incredible, or Nathan Ward's time with Just Incredible. And then I saw the video, the shoot video, where it talks about Wall. There was a wrestler named Jerry Witt. I think it's how you pronounce it, aka the Wall, WCW. That's what he was known as. And they were out in Japan, and PJ admits that he was in a lot of pain, so he asked his wife to send some painkillers, and which she did via FedEx, which actually is a federal offense. She should have went to prison for it. Had they got caught, she would have. And apparently Justin gave Wall some of the pills, and the next day he had died of a heart attack. And it's all on Wikipedia that he did die of a heart attack, but it also says that the death was conclusive. Could have been a drug overdose, could have been a lot of things, but Justin takes fault for it and says he wishes his wife never sent those pills. I'm not saying anything bad about that because I can't. I can't speak on this. I don't know what it's like to be addicted to pills. I don't know what it's like to be addicted to any kind of drug like that because I never experienced that. But I've seen what it does to people, seen what it can do to people. It makes people go from being a semi-decent human being to basically a piece of shit. And kind of what, not trying to say Justin is, because he's not. Peter Polaco, whatever you want to call him, PJ, Just Incredible, whatever you want to refer to him as, was somebody that I actually respected and somebody I actually like. And I'm going to show more clips. There was actually a second part that they did not get to on that Just Incredible thing, and it was because of the fact that Justin was just done. I'm going to play the second part, and I'm also going to play a clip from Stevie, the Stevie Richards show. And all the descriptions will be in the link. All the links will be in the description below. Sorry, I said that backwards, but I will say this: Justin admits to making mistakes, but he doesn't feel like he's a scammer. And I honestly feel like if he had somebody to help him, wouldn't have been an issue. And I'm not saying his wife doesn't help, but he needs somebody that can actually represent him. Like an actual agent, somebody that can actually help with the, here, sign this, I'm going to go send it off. Now, the problem is because of all the wrong he has done, I don't think anybody is willing to represent him, including myself. I'm somebody that believes in second chances. I don't know. One, he lives all the way out in Connecticut. I live in California. It's literally across the United States for me. Go help him. Not easy for me to go out there. And if he is addicted to drugs, WWE offers all these programs to help or rehab. They offer it for free. I know this because I know a wrestler who told me about this. I'm not going to say his name, but somebody that has been well known for the drug use. And I actually messaged them personally via email. I'm not going to say names. I don't want to say, only because it's not my place. But Justin shows his leg, and you could tell definitely bad. When he showed the leg, it was something that made me look at it and go, okay, that doesn't look well. And then I saw a comment on this particular video. It said Justin showed that his leg was in fact real. My immediate thought was the leg was a result of shooting dope into it. Same thing happened to Jared Leto's character in the movie Requiem for a Dream, except it was an arm and it had to be amputated. And I had never seen that movie, and I never looked it up. I probably should have looked it up to see what it looked like, but the leg was definitely a little ugly enough as it was. I don't feel like I need to. And I'm just saying some things that I see. These are things that I'm seeing. I'm not trying to be that guy of the voice of reasoning for Justin. I'm not saying what he did is right. I am saying that I think he's just somebody that needs help. And maybe the help he needs is, in fact, and I'm saying this like as if I was his friend. I'm not his friend. I don't represent anything he does. I don't know him that well. I had one time where I met him. It was a one-day thing. I would say a total of, say, 5 hours. Just say that just to, be polite. It was a total of 5 hours total that I actually worked with him. And it was a one-time deal. I can't say I know too much about him. However, I will say I actually know that I met somebody that was actually a really nice person. The guy I met, somebody who actually cared about the business more than a lot of wrestlers I worked with did. And again, this is my perspective. This was actually all before a lot of this came out. This was again back in 2006, 2007 area of his career, and a lot of these allegations came out around 2012 is what I saw was the earliest. And again, he made that comment about this happened over a decade ago. I barely remember what happened 10 days ago, not to dismiss it, but and he says some of the lines of who's to say I didn't send it out. And again, I'm not making up excuses for the guy, and I'm not trying to validate his excuses. What I'm saying is this is a guy that has made a lot of mistakes. This is a guy that admitted to making mistakes. I honestly think he's clean because all the druggies I've ever seen are these skinny, just they almost zombified look to him. He is extremely skinny, and I think that's why I feel like he's clean. I'm not making excuses for him, not trying to validate anything he did, but he's pretty hefty. The last time I seen him in person, like on a video or anything, he looked pretty big. In that particular video, it was kind of hard to tell because he was sitting down, but he did look like he had a little weight to him. And yes, Glocky was right. He was getting mad. And I believe that Glocky was scammed. In my opinion, I think PJ owes him an apology. I'm not going to sit here and say that PJ needs to make amends with this guy. I would love to see them have like a sit down. And honestly, I'm not sure if that will ever happen because of fact that I feel like Glocky has moved on. This was all like about a year ago. Some of this stuff started, they even covered it in March of 2025. Stevie kind of went back on it again in October because of some of the posts that he made on Instagram or Twitter. I think it was actually X now is what it's called, stating that he needed money for gas and toll. But we're going to cover that here in a little bit. But I think this is too far gone of a situation to where he can make amends for it, but still can make amends for a lot of the wrong he's done. I want to cover the Grimm situation because I don't know nothing about that, but I did look it up, and Grimm posted a video about it. I don't know who he is. I just followed him today just because I was curious, and I watched it. Well, technically, by the time this post, it'll be yesterday. I watched it, but anyway, that's neither here or there. But I did watch a video of him. I kind of started to watch, but I wanted to give my actual reaction to it because I want you guys to understand that this is stuff that I don't condone. But I also understand that Justin has made mistakes. Maven is said the same thing at the end. Last 2 minutes of that video, he makes a comment about that Justin has wronged fans, and neither one of us are making excuses. Ball is in Justin's court. It is. It's his job to take care of and make things right. And I think that there's an opportunity for him to do it. But let's watch the other videos.
The injustice.
Now, before I get to this, I have only seen bits and parts of this, so might pause it to talk a few seconds.
Eyes or PJ's eyes, he redeemed himself with that interview. It was terrible. It didn't do him any favors. As a matter of fact, somehow it made everything worse.
I love the Stevie Richards Show. This is one of my favorite podcasts, for the record.
Now, one more bit of news, actually, and it comes courtesy of friend of the show, sort of best friends of the show, I guess, at this point, Maven Huffman. Now, if nothing else, it just keeps amusing me because I know I message his business partner. Obviously, you're in contact with Maven more than I am. You text him often. You, and occasionally me, we seem to turn up on Maven's videos recently almost as much as Maven does, which always makes me laugh. So that always tickles me. But this last one that he released on Friday, we're recording on Wednesday, so there'll be a new one by the time this show comes out. But so last Friday, I guess, when this show comes out, is regarding Justin Credible. And once again, to just very briefly discuss what the video is about, Justin Credible, PJ Polacco, doesn't have the greatest reputation within pro wrestling. There's been numerous allegations made against him. A lot regarding no-showing promoters, demanding money after the fact, that kind of thing, or he won't work or whatever it might be, but mostly also ripping off fans when he's claiming to sell merchandise or books or whatever it is, then taking the money and then not sending out the merch as promised. And Maven basically did a sit-down interview with him. And what do you want to go on first? Do you want the first thing is actually you on saying something about a match where he went into the crowd. Do you want to discuss that first?
I saw it, and then Chris can play the clip. We're welcome to play it. Thank you very much, Maven and Zach, and you guys are always welcome, including Chris Van Vliet and any of our other podcasting brothers, to use our content. We appreciate it. But when I'm looking at the original video that it really popped up, to give a little bit of context and background, was from Pinfalls and Pixels, did like a multi-part kind of documentary type presentation talking about all these people and showing screenshots, showing videos, emails, messages, really having a lot of evidence throughout the past decade or more of PJ doing this. And they played a clip from one of our episodes where I talked about that it was complete BS, that PJ, first of all, showed up, couldn't even wait till after the show to do whatever extracurricular stuff he did. The night before, Sabu had passed out in the hotel room and been taken to the hospital. But before Sabu was taken to the hospital, PJ took a picture of Sabu slumped in a chair and posted it on social media. The next night, when PJ passed out in the locker room, Luke Hawx took a picture and uploaded it to social media. Just a little bit of an Easter egg, if you look back at that picture, I'm in the background warming up doing yoga. Not even realize PJ's like passed out. But then when I went out to try to sell some merchandise or whatever, PJ was going out during intermission and during some parts of the show asking the fans for gas money. And I said that was BS, that you did a disservice to the business, to the fans that paid money, and really the Extreme Reunion show, which was going to launch. There was all these different things. It wasn't just PJ, by the way. Across the board, it was a nightmare. It was like the old ECW, but in all the worst ways, with everything going on and all the goofiness of everything. And we were looking at this going, we have 2,100 people in here, the gate, the merchandise, everything, it was packed, standing room only, and it was supposed to relaunch a wrestling promotion. But when we saw this, we're like, the fans automatically had 2 strikes against us and also had a bad taste in our mouth. And PJ had a lot to do with that. He's not the only one, so let's be fair. But it was a major story off of that. Now, the opening of this, which we can play it back and forth, Chris, the opening of this is the clip where I talked about that, a shorter version. PJ, did such a disservice to the business.
Oh, geez.
Hold on. You saw Stevie and you said, "Oh, geez."
I already know.
He's a friend. He's a friend.
He's a friend too.
Full disclosure, a good friend of mine.
He's a good friend. Well, he's a friend.
Okay, like Stevie and
I think he's got a bad idea of who I am. I think he bought into the ECW Just Incredible gimmick, and he said that to me once before.
Explain.
It's almost like a work,
right?
And that's just not.
And he actually went out into the crowd and asked the fans for money. And I had said that was BS.
I don't remember that at all, but it almost like he took it more personal than I did.
Yeah.
I was going through, I have no excuses. And a lot of this was a snapshot of some bad moments in time on a 30-something year career.
Absolutely.
And I remember this now more because I didn't know this was what you were going to show me. But it's, it was ugly. It was ugly. And I made my peace with the promoters and with people. And it's like, what else are you going to do? You're going to keep bringing it up?
And Maven right away, PJ reacts to it. Maven goes, "Oh, you're already reacting to it." And he's like, yeah. And PJ's kind of like, I wouldn't be comfortable either. But then Maven already told him, we're going to discuss some tough stuff, which PJ was like, fine. And he goes, "I'm just telling you right now, Stevie's a friend." And he goes, "Oh, yeah." PJ goes, "Yeah, he's a friend." He goes, "He's a good friend." And this popped me so huge. You know where I'm going. He's about to say he's a good friend. He goes, he's a friend. He's already, I was like, yeah.
I love that.
You're laying in
the
boots to me. I love it. Because of what he's doing throughout this entire thing, and we're going to break it down a little bit more. The entire thing is deflection, distraction. You bring up a good point about this, but did you know that Stevie bought my Just Incredible gimmick? What does it have to do with anything? Like, Maven's presenting what I said about that night, and PJ saying, "Oh, a completely different answer, by the way." Not.
Now, honestly, I didn't think anything of it, but that's a true point. He did kind of change the question, I guess you could say. He kind of discredit Stevie for no reason, and Glocky made the comment, and I never really thought about it when I seen the initial reaction of Maven. That's actually how all this started, because I actually know PJ personally to some degree. I was interested in that, but Stevie making the comment that he just did, he's right. What does that have to do with anything? That's not what we were trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out why you are scamming people, not why you want to discredit Stevie. Stevie, yes, he fell into the whole thing of the gimmick and thought PJ was this horrible person. In reality, he's not. And that's that's his business. He just probably was admiring how great of a worker Just Incredible is. So, I don't know. Let's get back to it.
Why is Stevie calling you out? What happened? What's the real story? But what he said was, the first time that I really traveled with him, I said, "You know what, PJ?" I go, "Man, you're really a quiet, laid-back guy." And I was like, "That's awesome that you can convince me when I'm watching Just Incredible's promos, your facial expressions and everything." I'm like, this dude's a badass, and this dude's a pretty mean dude. How's that a negative? He made it sound like I was believing the Just Incredible presentation as a character when I got to know PJ Polacco, the man at the time. I'm saying, that's great. You made me to suspend disbelief when I watched your promos and matches. But what he said was, it's an ad hominem attack to say Stevie has no credibility because he's a mark. In other words, what does going out drunk or drugged up or high out into a crowd asking for gas money have to do with me believing your character? Do you see what I mean? The whole thing was deflection, distraction, a totally different answer to the actual question, and just saying whatever.
It's even worse than that because...
I was trying to be nice.
What was I going to get at there? No, well, it is worse than that because he's saying, well, you know, him going out for gas money. I don't remember that, but apparently you do.
Stevie
and it
takes
meant
it
more
way
to
more
you
personally than I do. Well, PJ, here's the...
You didn't remember it, apparently, because you were too
here's the problem, PJ. It's your reputation. It's your career. It's your future earnings and bookings. You should take it more personally than I did. I took it personally because I saw a true opportunity for me and other guys and girls to perform, make money outside WWE, and have a new lease on life and maybe have a full-time wrestling career once again. So you're damn right I take it personally. And so did Shane Douglas, Luke Hawx, and everybody else who wasn't out of their mind that night, which there was too many people all effed up. So it's not just you.
Stevie makes a good point, and this is from an event that took place a number of years ago, which there were a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol involved. It was an ECW kind of reunion, so to speak, and Stevie was there, Shane Douglas, Luke Hawx. There was a lot of wrestlers that were there, and certain people were pretty messed up. Sabu apparently was. Obviously, Just Incredible was. And Stevie made a very, very valid point. Like, yes, you should take it more personal than I did because this is your reputation. This is you. This is something that, you know, and yeah, it upsets Stevie because this was an opportunity for them to possibly make more money in the future. And it kind of got put down because of a few wrestlers that were out of hand, including Just Incredible, who was going through the crowd begging for money. So, again, Stevie, yes, I get why he's so passionate because this was an opportunity for them to better their future. And, you know, congrats on Stevie for at least owning up to everything, or not owning up, but, you know, pushing this. I will say I'm actually really proud to see that.
But they didn't go out and ask the people for money. The people didn't see them drunk and high and desperate for money. And you still wanted to work. Or not work. I'm sorry, let me correct it. You did not want to work, but you still wanted to get paid. And you got mad at Shane Douglas and Steve O'Neill when they wouldn't pay you for not working.
There's more. Okay, there's something else that you brought up a while ago. We'll just do this very, very quickly, then we'll address the rest of the video. Originally, when we talked about Just Incredible, which is where that clip came from for... what's the original channel? Something in Pixels?
Pinfalls and Pixels.
Pinfalls and Pixels, excuse me. And
link for that will be in the description below as well.
Yeah. So that clip was taken from a clip probably, I think it was called like Just Incredible Isn't Happy With Me. And it's regarding the YouTube channel that he had many years ago. And I remember being really excited about the concept for it because there's so many more, well, not so many more, but, you know, you Maven, a couple of other people who actually make these wrestling shows more than just a Zoom recording, basically, and put the effort in. And Just Incredible was one of the first people to do it with Pro Wrestling 101, I think it was called. And then he just stopped doing it. And I don't know if he got bored or got distracted or anything like that. But essentially, he then said many years later, when you did the analytics channel, you stole his idea. Despite the fact that, one, Just Incredible hadn't done anything for years regarding YouTube pretty much, and two, the YouTube concepts of both channels were completely different.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And the thing with PJ, and by the way, PJ's still a friend. And the reason why he's still a friend, and it doesn't make sense from the things I just said to some people, is because I'm telling a truth. I'm doing what most people wouldn't do in PJ's life for however long. I'm not going to enable him. Maven didn't either. Maven, at the end of this video, and we'll talk about that, had to record a talking head shot, updating everybody. I have to tell you about that Maven video. Maven, just a side note, Maven's growth, not as a YouTuber, but as a host of content, has grown so substantially, and I'm so proud. He can have a different look. It's not just, hey guys, Maven here, I'm going to tell you how to cut yourself with a razor blade or whatever. Now it's literally these organic type. Dude, it reminded me of To Catch a Predator. That whole video reminded me, and then the Fallout video, Maven commentating on it. But
there's one problem. There's one problem though. There's one problem with it, is that maybe that was by design. So Maven, you tell me if I'm right or wrong. He didn't confront him initially with something that was obviously a lie, or something that
he didn't push back as much as probably people would want him to.
Exactly.
But I believe in the beginning, Maven was letting PJ, whether for good or bad reasons for PJ, just let him talk and answer and go unanswered because he knew they would get answered in the comments. However, I had a conversation with Maven and he had said, watch all the way to the end because I'm on camera and I don't want it to seem jarring, or I didn't know the exact adjective, but watch and tell me. And I said, dude, that was absolutely the best thing you could have done because you sat there and watched him answer and you didn't push back. You brought it all the way back around with an update and said, apparently hasn't changed. He's no-showing, he's begging for money, and Maven understands second chances. He can say it better than me, so please watch the video all the way through to the end. But Maven, with his past, with getting arrested, with the drug use and hitting rock bottom, Maven believes in second chances, but he said the thing that really, I say God helps those that help themselves. Maven said basically, I believe in second chances, but the ball is in your court, PJ. It's up to PJ. We can talk, Maven can talk, DDP can have him doing yoga until the end of time. It's not going to help unless PJ is sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it might be too late, man. I don't want to say that, but at this point, you're doing interviews and you're looking for somebody to just enable you and say you're right, which Maven did not push back in Justin's eyes or PJ's eyes. He redeemed himself with that interview. It was terrible. It didn't do him any favors. As a matter of fact, somehow it made everything worse.
I don't want to say, as someone who has been a professional interviewer for quite a number of years, what I said about Maven was not a criticism per se, because there's two different ways you can go about an interview. You can either push back and then you risk getting the interview cut short very, very quickly, or you can basically, the person almost interviews themselves. It's almost like a police interrogation.
He gave him enough rope to hang himself with the interview.
Exactly, and that's basically what's happened here, because it's almost like a police interrogation. We don't have interrogations here, we have police interviews, by the way. But like a police interview where the interviewer wants to say as little as possible. If you can get the person talking, let him keep talking. Sooner or later, they will slip. And in Justin's case, very soon indeed, because we get to what I just find absolutely abhorrent, to the point that he should be absolutely arrested for this, is that he has admitted on camera, and it's got over 400,000 people, whatever views it is, as we record this, that he has stolen money from people for merchandise that's never going to make their way to the person who's paid him in good faith. And his excuse was, I don't have the quote right in front of me, but it's essentially, well, by the time I got the money, well, my family had to eat. I was like, excuse me, forget your family. No, what you've done is,
I have to say, he's not wrong. You're sent money to do a job. Do the job, and then whatever money you have after that, that's what you use to eat. I mean, that's just how it is. It's the work life. Certain bills you have to pay. You have to pay your rent. You have to pay your car payment. You have to pay, for gas. You need to get back and forth to work. Then you use the rest of the money for that. And honestly, he probably could have borrowed money and then made that money back in return by doing the same thing. It's just he chooses to borrow money and never repay. Fortunately, it's what I'm gathering.
Is you've accepted a contract that you need to fulfill by paying Sorry, by giving the service or
Delivering the
product.
goods or services that you got paid to deliver.
Exactly. It's like, no. You don't just take people's money and then buy it for food, which actually we probably know what the money went to, and it probably wasn't food. I mean, it probably was as well. But, it's just an absolute disgrace. And he's been doing it for years now. And people want to give him a second chance and pay him money, and eventually nothing ever comes because it's just free money to him, and he justifies it to himself. In his own brain, he thinks, well, I mean, I needed the money more than you needed the money. That's basically what he's saying.
I'm glad you brought that up, because this is an epidemic or a pandemic amongst all wrestlers, especially for my generation. Wrestling, this is the part of wrestling that, thank God, nothing came easy for me, because you know what pro wrestling trains you to do? To be as lazy as possible and earn the most amount of money. You've dealt with this with people in the sphere of just these wrestling shows and podcasts. Here's the problem. Most of the guys and girls, and we're going to leave out, I'm talking about my generation. It might be before me or after me as well. Let us know in the comments. But basically, what happens is there's this weird kind of shift. In other words, what PJ did, and this is my interpretation, and he was so close to calling fans marks during this a few times, because that's the, how should I say, that's the way to discredit a human being that's a wrestling fan that pays you for something, because you
serves you right.
Serves you, you're a mark. It's your fault. Hey, I'm a scorpion. I told you I was a scorpion, right? That old story with the scorpion and the frog. Mm-hmm. But with PJ, the direct quote of, well, after I had to buy food, there was no money to ship it out. It's just like, okay, but here's the problem I have with pro wrestling, and we're talking about cameos earlier. The problem I have with a lot of pro wrestlers, and probably the reason a lot of them have a problem with me, is because I value when somebody gives me money, and I try to turn around that product as soon as possible. It's very simple, just like getting booked. This is the same vein. When you get booked, you show up unable to perform, and you can't perform, but you stick your hand out for money. What part of this don't you get? It's an exchange. So in other words, I get so mad at wrestlers that act like this is a job and not a gift. In other words, cameos, signed t-shirts, signed merchandise, all these different things, whatever it is, cameo, anything is a gift of money, especially in this economy in 2025. I'm like, when I get a Patreon supporter, even for $1, I'm like, my God, how can I bring value? How can we bring value to that person? Because $1 is hard to come by for a lot of people, and $1 can go to other things. So when they choose to spend $1 or however much on anything, I honor that and try to give them the maximum amount of value. Even free here on YouTube, we get AdSense. So if we can get these people to enjoy and value the content, it converts monetarily. What I hate is when these wrestlers, some switch flips in their brain where they're like, well, it's an honor for you to give me money. Yeah, I'm letting you pay me. And if I give you something back, that's just a bonus. But I deserve the money, but you might not get the thing. So for lack of a better way of putting it, it pisses me off how these wrestlers piss away every opportunity to make money. And guess what? People are still trying to book PJ in 2025. That's on the level of sickness. Are you just wondering, well, if he comes in, I'll have a story for my promotion. So nobody's innocent in this, because you continue to enable this guy, and nothing I want more in this frame that we're talking about this than for PJ to prove me wrong, get in the best shape, get clean, outdraw me on YouTube, bring back Pro Wrestling 101, have 10 times the views and money that we make here, and show me, make me see. Get your revenge on me, PJ. Get clean and say Stevie Richards is a blowhard, and I'm going to show him because I'm going to make enough money to buy a house and take care of my wife and kids, and say F you to that guy. Come on. That's a challenge. In Justin's eyes or PJ's eyes.
I want to touch on that last part. Stevie, thank you so much for saying that, because Stevie is challenging Justin to do better. And there is a potential for Justin to do better. I think Stevie has an amazing co-host with James Romero. So Justin needs to find somebody just as good. Justin, I'm free. If you're interested, I mean, literally free. I will do it for free. I will try to help. We could talk, figure it out. Actually go to the different screen. Stevie, you did an amazing job. I really respect everything you said especially towards the end. Again, Justin, I am a fan of yours. You can call me a mark. You can call me whatever you want. I am that. I am a fan of yours. I hope and I pray that this is something you can bounce back from. Maven did an amazing job. How to Catch a Predator. It's a very good way of describing this video. Stevie, again, absolutely amazing. Bravo on what you guys are doing. James Romero told a story about Just Incredible in a different video that he paid him $2 to do it or whatever it was. And he did show up. So Justin does do certain things. And like he made a comment about like there might have been 1 or 2 times where he did a podcast and he offered to reschedule. Maybe something came up, and I believe him because things happen. Life happens. Life is lifing. I'm not making any excuses for it, but Justin, I think you actually have an opportunity to do something even better than Stevie Richards. The Pro Wrestling 101 videos were absolutely amazing. If you actually guys go watch them, it is on his Just Incredible YouTube channel. Look it up. It's not a bad thing. He also had a podcast that he did for a short while, like 3 or 4 episodes this year in 2026. Early this year, I believe it was. It was called That's Incredible Podcast or something like that. It was interesting, to say it nicely, but there were some not so nice things to say or to read on those comments. One of which was, like, man, you guys have nothing interesting to say, I think is what I think of the exact words. I think it was some of that lines. And then another comment on another video was like, let me hold $40. And obviously, if you know, that's kind of what scammed a lot of people out of. And again, I'm not making any justifications for what he did. I'm just saying, I think he could actually make a career out of this. He's got over 15,000 followers on YouTube and probably more on other platforms. He can actually brand himself out at. And honestly, I think if he does this, it could be an opportunity for him to make amends for his mistakes. I think Just Incredible is an amazing person. And as he said in the Maven thing, if you know me in real life, you know who I am. I don't know you very well, but I know of you enough to know that you have amazing things for someone like me. Again, I might be a mark. It is what it is. But he had made a huge impression on me to the point I remember almost everything fully into detail. I remember that day into detail, and honestly, I couldn't tell you what I did 3 days ago. Into that much detail, I can't even remember some of the conversations I had yesterday or today. However you want to look at it, but I remember very much so a lot of this. And again, I mentioned Maven covered a lot of this. This was in March of 2025, and then the Stevie Richards, it actually all stems from that same thing. There's another one that I'm going to watch where they talk about his leg and it being as bad as it was and so forth. And then there's going to be part 2 of the Pinfall and Pixels video. I'm going to play that. And also I'm going to play the Grim video, and then we'll do a final recap.
First off, I want to start by saying thank you for the support on my last video, and every other video for that matter. It really means a lot, and I truly do appreciate it. Before we dive into this video, I want to make one thing very clear. I'm not a judgmental person. People make mistakes. I make mistakes, and even wrestlers make mistakes. I've also never been the type to let something outside of the ring define how I view someone as a performer. We all deserve second chances, and forgiveness is important. Over and over again, good people make bad choices, but they learn from them. Many go on to make the wrestling business better. Well, maybe except for Jeff Hardy, because destroying an entire pay-per-view is kind of unforgivable. Fans paid good money for those seats. They paid to watch it on TV, and all of them, quite frankly, got scammed. Which brings me back to Justin Credible. Blocking people and silencing victims doesn't really sound like somebody who wants forgiveness. Scamming fans is already one of the lowest things that you can do. Or at least that's what I thought. After my last video, I received an email from somebody who claimed to have managed Justin Credible. Not only did they manage Justin Credible, but they wrote an entire book about their time doing so. The book is called Wrestling with Justice by Nathan Ward. Take this information however you want, but keep in mind, this is a published book. I'll leave a link in the description of the book, and I'll even link a free trial to read it digitally. Today we're going to dive into the Justin Credible parts of the book, the scams, the drugs, and even the death involved in this story. The first mention of Justin Credible in Wrestling with Justice appears in 2008, when Nathan organized a wrestling event featuring multiple wrestlers. He starts detailing this on page 25 in a chapter bluntly titled The Druggies. Nathan describes Justin Credible and his wife as some of the most notorious con artists and drug addicts that he has ever encountered. He mentions Justin's 2 terminations from WWE, which we all knew about, but I don't think any of us knew the full reasons why. According to Nathan, Justin's first firing was due to repeatedly lying to Stephanie McMahon, claiming he would be en route to a chartered flight but never actually leaving his hotel. The second termination was also a pattern of no-shows. So it looks like Justin doesn't just have a history of no-showing local promotions, but also the WWE. Nathan, who lived just one town over from Justin, would then propose a 50-50 split for an appearance at a convention in New Jersey. But Justin would counter with an offer that Nathan couldn't refuse. $150 up front in exchange for a commitment to all bookings for the rest of the year. And I mean, you know what they say. If it seems too good to be true, 9 times out of 10 it is. Nathan met up with Justin at a wrestling dojo to deliver the money. From there, they got into Justin's beat-up Buick, where Nathan met Justin's wife. He would refer to Justin's wife as Amber in the book, though anyone scammed by Justin on PayPal knows her real name is Jill. Nathan then says that within moments the money was used for drugs. Not long after, Justin then asked Nathan for another $160, this time being upfront and saying it was for pills. He promised to repay him with a paycheck from the restaurant where he worked. Now, I have seen comments on X and YouTube that Justin definitely does or did work at a restaurant, which adds a little credibility to Nathan's claims. Nathan would go on to lend Justin over $500 and even put him on a cell phone plan, since Justin Credible didn't even have a phone. The result was a $700 phone bill in the first month. Justin also would then write Nathan 2 checks totaling $460, both of which bounced, because of course they did. Nathan would then attempt to have Justin work off his debt through autograph signings and a shoot interview. The interview, according to Nathan, was subpar, but it did include something very shocking and disturbing. Nathan claims that during the interview, Justin talked about a time he was in Japan with wrestler Jerry Twight. Now, I have to admit, I'm not very familiar with Jerry, also known as The Wall. But he had an extensive career, wrestling for almost every major promotion including WCW, ECW, and TNA. In the interview, Justin Credible would claim that he had his wife overnight him some pills to Japan. He then shared those pills with Jerry. The next day, Jerry was found in his hotel room dead. Now, I did look this up on Wikipedia, and Jerry did die in Japan. The official cause of death was listed as a heart attack, but a citation notes that nothing was conclusive. Further research shows that Jerry and Justin actually tag teamed together the night before Jerry's death. So to me, this really doesn't seem like some made-up claim that Nathan made out of thin air. There seems to be some truth to this. In the interview, Justin would allegedly say that he wished the pills got lost in the mail. For Justin Credible to openly discuss his involvement in giving Jerry pills the night before his passing is at best an incredibly reckless thing to say, and at worst, a chilling insight into what was really going on behind the scenes. Later in the book, Nathan described walking in on Justin and an older woman in a compromising position. The woman would later claim some of her jewelry went missing. Nathan then recounts all of the personal items of his that went missing, like a PSP, cell phones, and even a bottle of pills that he had from an accident. He also claims that one night Justin was drinking and taking Xanax, trying to fight him. Later, Justin's wife Jill would try to escape Justin by hiding in Nathan's hotel room. Justin would storm in, assault Jill, take her cigarettes, and then leave. Nathan later wrote in the book that Justin's dad would find Justin and Jill in a drugged out state. He would then contact the authorities hoping they would force the two into rehab, but the result was the two kids being removed from the home. Also, according to Nathan, Justin would be fired from jobs for being dope sick, and even accused him and his wife of food stamp fraud. The book goes into a lot of Justin scamming, forging checks, and becoming heavily dependent on Suboxone. Justin and Jill would spend every dollar on drugs and divide the stashes to hide from each other. Nathan talks about a time when Justin's wife burned her stash on accident when she hid it underneath the stovetop. Further in the book, Nathan recounts times Justin would search ashtrays outside of stores for cigarettes to smoke. The book goes into a lot more of Justin's petty scams and theft, but what stuck out to me was when Nathan questioned Jill's cancer diagnosis. A post from 2018 would say she only had 6 months to live. Nathan claims this was only to elicit financial support and said that Justin often used it as an excuse to no-show events. He says while he could never say for sure, he is 99.9% certain it was fake and that in 2025 she is alive and well. I mean, about as well as you could be for being a junkie, I guess. The breaking point for Nathan would come when one evening he would find syringes and caps across the floor at Justin's house, all while a toddler roamed the home. And that is when Nathan decided he was done with Justin Credible. There's a lot of good stories in this book. Not only Justin Credible stories, but Bret Hart, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, Mickie James, and more. And not all of the stories in this book are negative. I really recommend checking the book out. Like I said, the link is in the description where you can even use a free trial to read it. The amount of stories from all over the internet and in the comments section of my last video is mind-blowing. But what's also equally as mind-blowing is the amount of people that are unaware of all of this. His peers are unaware. The promotions booking him are unaware. The podcast booking him are unaware. All of the people losing their money are unaware. Nathan emailed me and said that he plans on talking to a district attorney to see if there's anything that they can do about Justin's scams. But I wouldn't hold my breath. And honestly, who cares? He will be a broke loser whether he's in jail or not. I really didn't enjoy making this video and I wasn't motivated to do so. I don't expect Justin Credible to ever change. He is a jabroni and will always be one. I really appreciate everybody watching this video. Be sure to give it a like. Drop a comment if there's anything else you'd like to see a video of. And subscribe. This is Glocky, and I'll see you on the next one.
Because that was the first match against Savio Vega. And they're like, don't worry, Aldo will be there. I'm literally getting dressed, and I was drunk. Putting my stuff on in the car, driving about, I mean, I know you guys do kilometers, but driving very fast. I mean, at least 80 miles an hour.
True that you smuggle some drugs for Shawn Michaels.
Well, it wasn't for Shawn.
Oh, okay.
It was for me.
Fair.
I was doing cocaine.
Let's move on then. Just incredible. He did a post, I think, a couple of days ago as we record this. It's sort of in the latest of the long line of, as you know, just incredulous posts where he's asking people for money online. Just Incredible has a very, very long history of scamming fans. I don't even want to say allegedly, because I think even he's admitted he's taken money from people and then not sent out merchandise. At least he said that. But, you know, there's accusations of him not showing up to, taking deposits and not showing up to, shots, wrestling matches or seminars or whatever it might be. It keeps on going. And then he did this post a couple of days ago, Stevie, if you would like to tell us what it is.
All right, I have the post here from X, and it says, at PJ Polacco, I hate to ask. That's how he starts all this off with. I know a lot of you have certain feelings about me, but Thursday night I got into an accident. I've been in Philadelphia at a hospital. Since then, I've been discharged, but I don't have gas money to get home or tolls. If there's any way you guys can help, or any ways you guys can bless me, DM, prayer emoji, 2 pictures with electrodes that have been reattached in the wrong spots.
Yeah, you can see the residue in the middle one where it's been taken off and then put back on, but sort of not covering some of the residue. And also you can see that he's got mustard on his face. I'm gonna say this right now. We're gonna dive a little deeper into this, and obviously this is one of those uncomfortable things. We've done the videos about PJ and kind of the plea and the challenge to him at the end. I'm never comfortable, and I still consider PJ Polacco of previous years to be my friend. What I'm looking at here and the repeated kind of Groundhog Day type posts and asking for money, things like that, it just breaks my heart. And I'm going to tell you right now, Nova sent me this the other day. And my answer was, I was almost tempted to help him. I don't know why. It's the same thing. It's the same pictures, the same story with different situations. But I was like, is this the one time PJ's asking for help that he needs it? Then I see that, like, he said he's been discharged. I think this is an amended post, because I saw an earlier one where he said he was in the hospital. This is the one Nova sent me at the time, and it was on Facebook. He was in the hospital, and the comments were saying, dude, you're in a hotel room. I see the headboard. And then the previous post is him with a hat on, kind of tilted, saying, I need a motel room, as he's in the motel room. I'm gonna blow your mind. The one with his hat on is after. That was posted the day after, or at least October 7th. I'm looking at it now. That's October 7th with his hat on, saying, literally trying to get a motel for the night, please message me. He reposted the most unflattering. What's even sort of sadder is the first photo of the two. I think he's doing like the come at me pose that he did in ECW, but you can only see like the tips of his fingers. And of course he's wearing his rosary thing as well, his necklace, which, and then afterwards, he reposted that several times, by the way, himself. And then afterwards, he's texted a picture of a car or screen grabbed a message, a post of a car that's really badly damaged at the front. Here's my question. Why does he just want gas money or anything when that car will not be legal to drive on the road?
It's an excellent question. I mean, this is obviously the repeated, how should I say, the repeated things that are happening, a repeated occurrence. It doesn't add up. PJ just wants you to, and it's always in the past, the number amount has always been $40 from previous years that I've seen. That $40 number always, I don't know why there's any significance or what the cost of certain things that PJ is looking to get is not gas and tolls. The toll thing is everybody charges toll by plate. So even if you could drive the car, you don't need the toll money until you get home. You don't have to go through a toll booth and give cash. Most of them are cashless now, and they mail you the bill based on your plate. That's neither here nor there, excuse me, because PJ just wants the money. I don't know what to say at this point. This breaks my heart to even do this video after all this time, because trust me, people have said in the comments, and I said before in a video, and Maven has said it on his video, this guy could be an incredible redemption story. He can draw so much. If he was just clean and in half decent shape, because that Memphis match was just scary to watch. Him just on his back.
Tell people about the Memphis match if they didn't see it, because you sent it me or I sent it you. It wasn't even funny.
It was scary in a way, like this dude's gonna have a heart attack. This dude has a leg that's not usable. Maven vouched for that leg being real, the necrosis and everything. He wrestled a hardcore match where even on offense, he couldn't even swing the cane believably at the guy's back. But the minute PJ was on his back, and this is the only analogy I can think of, he was a turtle on its back. He could not move at all. And then the guy just gave some kind of elbow where he kind of protected him. 1, 2, 3, and it was over. And PJ continued to lay on his back where I said, is he having a heart attack right now? It was almost like he needed to be stretchered out. I don't know what it ended up being, but he could not get out of the ring on his own power. He could barely get into the ring on his own power. So, I mean, for Memphis Wrestling to book him after all that, and then he had other bookings, I don't know what they're doing. It could be like that Scott Hall thing from back in the day. Are we going to be the ones when PJ shows up or Just Incredible? Guess what? What are we doing right now, James? We're talking about it, and we mentioned Memphis Wrestling. I don't know.
I mean, it's the virtual panhandling thing, which has always bugged me. But I guess it's the delusion of, because he's deep in drug addiction. And he has been for many years. But it's that, and it's a common trait, I guess, with a lot of drug addicts, is that constant self-delusion and that constant and lying to yourself and then lying to everybody. Well, I know that I did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but this time it's different. Or they think of a new angle just to get $40 from you. And once again, I'm looking at it at the moment, right now. 4 separate posts of the exact same post. I hate to ask, I know you have certain feelings about me, but put those aside, because on Thursday I got into an accident, etc. I've been in a Philadelphia hospital. Since then, I've been discharged, but I don't have gas money to get home or tolls. But then you see the car. Let's say you don't know anything about the guy. But then you see the car. There is no way that car's driving on the road. Or he would be pulled over immediately, and say it's not roadworthy. So he doesn't need gas money, because that ain't going anywhere.
Therefore, you don't need toll money because you're not driving through tolls.
Yeah, and you don't need toll money. Yeah, absolutely. And then it's literally trying to get a motel for the night. You're in a motel because you already said in the post beforehand that you've been discharged from the hospital, and it's quite clear that you're in a motel from the headboard, but now he needs a motel for the night that he's already in. It's just, it's the self-delusion that I find annoying. I'm not even upsetting or depressing. I find it annoying. It angers me. It's
insulting your intelligence and everybody out there, but it doesn't have to add up, because if he had common sense and he had forethought and he really saw everything for what it is, he wouldn't be in this position of being an alleged drug addict or alcoholic or both. But this is the thing. I told you just a few minutes ago what? It pulled to my heartstrings a little bit. Not the actual post, not the gas money, toll money, but it's like, this guy used to be my friend. I still consider that part of him to be my friend. Should I at least reach out to see what he needs? But I know the way the conversation will go. Number one, he'll be mad at me about what I said previous. Number two, he may even say, because of all the rotten things you said to me, you owe me money. You owe me this. Or I know that video that had me in it made you AdSense money. You need to pay me that AdSense money. You know what I mean? This kind of stuff here. Yeah. But as a friend.
But that's the manipulation. Yeah. That's what I find so offensive.
It's manipulation. And it's kind of, it could be somewhat successful because my initial thought is like, should I at least reach out to this guy to see how he's doing? Maybe not from a monetary standpoint, but that's all he wants. The hook kind of worked for half a second on me. Could it work on 10 other people? They'd say, yeah, but man, the guy's in a bind. PJ's one of those guys that would say, I'm starving. And you would say, great, well, hop in, or hey, what do you want? I'm going to get something to eat right now. No, just give me the money. But you said you're hungry and I want to get you food. It's like, just forget it. Get out of here. Okay, well, I know you don't want it for food. So.
And he ain't starving.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. But at the same time, amazing in all the worst ways, I should say. But at the same time, here's what I wanted to say to PJ. And I said a challenge before. PJ has a way to monetize his redemption story. Because in wrestling especially, people love to knock people down, like Taker. But people love a good redemption story, don't they? People love the Scott Hall story, the Jake Roberts story, a million other ones in wrestling. Even Glacier, that didn't have the problem. He just went away. Then there was that Run for Glacier. They'd made the documentary, getting back in the ring. I'm not saying Ray was, but I'm just saying people that either aren't around or at their lowest point. PJ, like I said earlier, if PJ was even mostly clean, somewhat in shape, the world's his oyster. He can make a living based on that. He could do what we're doing and share stories about his addiction, overcoming it, all this stuff. I know people that are former wrestlers that are actually drug counselors now. There's actually a path to make money, make a living, and also be fulfilled at the same time. But he refuses to do it. If it's chemically addictive, I get it. But up here and your intention, you have to fight this, PJ. And he doesn't want to fight it. He just wants to be enabled, and he wants his $40 for gas and tolls. I should use air quotes.
A couple of days ago, former WWE and ECW star Justin Credible was answering charges from Maven about ripping off and scamming his fans, and he had a lot of awful things to say about me, and I'm going to get in my wrestling ring, and I'm going to rant about it in a second, but you guys need to see the clip first. The craziest thing about this is he calls me a mark, but then tells me he wrestles in my backyard for free. Bro, if you're wrestling for me in my backyard, who's the mark, Justin Credible? Too stupid. And then in this entire video on Maven's channel, he's like, I wasn't scamming people. I just took the money, didn't deliver what I was supposed to, used the money to feed my wife and kids. I had to use it for something else. I didn't scam anybody. What is wrong with this loser? Here's what he had to say about me and my federation, GTS, and then I'm popping off.
Michael S. said he's done this before to GTS Wrestling. Took the man's money and never showed, then blocked Grim.
What is GTS Wrestling?
Oh, that's some backyard wrestling shit. And this cocksucker is a mark, and I worked for his backyard federation for free. And then when I wouldn't do something or other, he got mad at me.
Then he got mad.
Yeah. Literally a backyard federation. He's a backyard wrestler.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the business,
Nothing.
the real business.
What's up, everybody? It's Grim. and I am the owner of GTS Wrestling, which just incredible had the nerve to call a backyard federation. Okay, no, we are in a backyard. But guess what? We've also been in a warehouse. What's up, everybody? It's Grim, and today I'm going to talk about what just incredible PJ Polacco piece of shit had to say about me in Maven Huffman's newest YouTube video, confronting a dude who scams his fans. Just incredible. You're already a confirmed piece of shit that the entire fucking video is about people you scammed. Too stupid. Are you dumber than a bag of dicks? I think you are. And you know what else? You fucking look like one too, you shit ass. This motherfucker calls me a cocksucker. Bro, I gotta confirm that you suck cock for drugs. So you want me to fucking talk about those stories? I will, shitlord. You motherfucker. How goddamn dare you? I wrestled just incredible in a steel cage. That one right there. A real fucking steel cage. In this fucking ring. A real professional wrestling ring from High Spots. I'm a goddamn trained wrestler from the I'm a trained wrestler from Iron Mike Sharp's Wrestling Academy in Asbury Park. And not only that, but I'm the 4th most watched wrestling show on YouTube, down to the 7th most watched wrestling show on YouTube. I've competed with the corporate wrestling channels for years, and the views have always been there. GTS has been kicking ass here for 12 goddamn years, you piece of shit. What the fuck have you done in the last 12 years other than rob people of their fucking money? Don't piss me off. And then to say that I'm irrelevant to the business. Do you understand, motherfucker, that MJF started in this ring, in this show, in this fucking yard? You dumb piece of shit ass liquor. Thunder Rosa's wrestled here. Oh, and she's gonna again at our live event, May 1st, Brick, New Jersey, at the Brewery Brawl at Icarus Brewing, which is gonna be a major event for the industry, as Thunder Rosa will be returning to the New Jersey independent scene for the first time in years. But GTS is irrelevant to the business. How fucking dumb are you? You fucking leaf bag looking loser.
Kind of funny.
Waddled into my goddamn yard looking like a sack of potatoes. A fucking bloated ass shell of your former self. Who the fucking cool Just Incredible you used to be. Back in ECW. What the fuck happened to you, bro? You fell off so goddamn hard. I'm surprised you're still alive, honestly. So, he said he wrestled in this yard for free. Who the fuck is gonna believe that Just Incredible is gonna show up here and wrestle me in that cage for free? What? When you made your debut as Aldo Montoya, me and him sat in the crowd, we chanted Power Ranger at you! Oh my God, it's confirmed, everybody. Top tier dipshit. How fucking stupid. My God. So then he goes on to say that, I didn't want to do something that he wanted me to do and he got mad. And then said I stole his money. But if he was working for free, why'd I give him money? You already ruined your own fucking story. Do you understand you buried yourself in a lion sack of shit?
I've never seen this.
Holy fuck. Like, are you not self-aware, Justin? Fucking moron. So then, this is the true story, okay? He came, he wrestled here, I paid him, everything was cool. Honestly, we had a great time. It was fucking cool. I wrestled Just Incredible in a cage. He was honestly cool. We had a nice time. I invited him back. I sent him the same payday. And then week after week after week, he had an excuse of why he couldn't come, till he eventually blocked me. You think you're gonna fucking get one over on me, asshole? So goddamn right, I buried him everywhere I could, posted all the receipts everywhere. It was on all the dirt sheets. That's why it wound up in Maven's video, fuckface, because I had the goddamn receipts! So now, I run into this motherfucker at one of these WrestleCon autograph signing gimmicks, and he's sitting there next to my good buddy Big Vin's dad, 911. And he's sitting there, and I walked right up and said, "Where's my fucking money? Where's my money? I try to be nice to everybody because I never know. Where's my money? You never know. Oh, you're not going to talk to me like that." I think, "Yeah, I am, motherfucker. You owe me money. where's my money? Because, you know, Grim don't fucking lay down for anybody. I ain't gonna fucking back down for anybody's bullshit. Motherfucker, I confronted him, where's my money?
So, you know, not for nothing, but like, you doing that, whatever. I tried to be cool.
I know, but you blocked
that on tape.
Oh, I don't want to be on camera. And then what'd you do? You got your fucking Rebel ass hobbled away as fucking fast as you could, looking like a goddamn McDonald Muppet, trying to run from me as fast as your fat, chubby, disabled legs would carry your bloated bitch ass, drunk loser body.
Keep filming it. And what I was going to say. I don't want to be on tape. the thing getting sorted out there actually worked out better for me in the long run. What's up, Miguel? How are you?
Is that good or what? Damn, it's good.
See? Garbage in, garbage out, I guess.
So now, after this confrontation, the next time I saw his ass was at Dalton's. Dalton Dilf Boy from GTS. He did his Find Yourself Wrestling show, and he had Just Incredible there. And then Dalton said he was going to pay him a certain rate, and he only gave him half the rate. He chopped it in half. The money that he owed was owed to me. So did I get my money? No, but we kind of took it out of your ass. So yeah, so Dalton fucked him over. I had nothing to do with it. Dalton came to me after, was like, yo, Grim, I got your back. I only paid him half his rate because that's how much he owed you, and he ain't getting it. Fuck it. Dalton, you don't got to do this shit, but it was funny, and you fucking deserved it, you goddamn loser. You got worked by a fucking autistic 22-year-old Mark. Ah! And you're going to go on fucking Maven's video and call me a Mark, motherfucker?
So funny.
You just keep embarrassing yourself over and over again. How does it feel to be the biggest fucking embarrassment that's ever existed in the history of pro wrestling? Because, motherfucker, I have deemed you just incredible. PJ piece of shit Polacco, the most embarrassing man to ever exist in the history of pro wrestling. And we're going to tweet the fuck out of it. We're going to put it in the comments. We're going to tag him all over every goddamn social media that he's the most goddamn embarrassing piece of shit loser that's ever existed in pro wrestling. And if you're not down with that, I got 3 words for you. Get my breadsticks. You fucking Olive Garden loser piece of shit. You got fired because you were on drugs. Eat it. Yeah. And to make Just Incredible look even more stupid, when I recorded that video, we had just announced tickets on sale for our brewery brawl at Icarus Brewing May 1st in Brick, New Jersey with Thunder Rosa, James Ellsworth, like I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video. But guess what? I recorded that video on Saturday, and then some things happened, and I've just been mentally out of it, and I'm finally able to be angry enough to start getting back to work, thanks to a bucktooth, fucking toothless, carless, jobless bum, which I'll get into that later. But regardless, me, who you know, means nothing to the business, and, you know, I'm just a substance-abusing loser. You know, no. I'm actually successful as shit, and I just sold out the brewery. That's right. Guys, tickets are now sold out. We're damn near close to it. We're going to try to add a couple more tickets tonight, but that's it. We sold out a brewery, bro. That's how successful GTS is. That's how successful Grim is. That's what a draw GTS is and GTS are. So to think that we are nothing to this business, we're just a bunch of yarders, you couldn't be farther from the truth. You're dumb. You're too stupid. You're a bag of dicks. And if you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you. Suck it!
Now, PJ made a comment about Mario Mancini, and apparently there was some kind of autograph signing that he was supposed to attend to. I actually listened to the article or video that they were talking about, and apparently what had happened was, and this is what they're saying, and actually a few other people said similar things, that they asked PJ to come along. They actually picked him up. One of the guys picked him up as it was on the way to the venue. He did not live too far away. He had asked to stop to get vodka on the way. Apparently, he kept disappearing. Every time he came back, he reeked of vodka. And this is all hearsay. I wasn't there. And apparently, he was gone more than he was actually there. They paid him basically a third of what was supposed to be owed, but they felt like it was justified because he wasn't even there a third of the time. and they also apparently paid for his hotel room, and they offered to buy him breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or whatever it was that he said. I can't remember the full details, but did make a comment of the lines of, he was not even at his table a third of the time, so why should I pay him the full amount? If he was at the table the full time, I would have paid him the full amount. He felt that because of all the money that he had lent him prior as well, they were equal, that he owes him nothing. In fact, if anything, Justin owes him. Again, this is all their stories. I wasn't a preview to this. I actually didn't know anything about Mario Mancini doing a signing with Paul Roma and I can't remember the other guy's name off the top of my head. But again, I wasn't there, but this is all hearsay. Let's get into the final of this podcast. Now, this is the end of the podcast, and I want to say again, the ball's in your court, Justin. You are actually an amazing person. You made a huge impact in my life. I understand that there is some issues going on, and there are people out there I think you can actually reach out to that can help you, and I believe Stevie Richards is one of them. If you actually reached out to him and talked to him, I think he will actually help you. If you ever decide to get your podcast going and you need a co-host that actually has it, done it, I'm always available. You follow me on Instagram. Won't go too far into that. I can message you. By all means, I think that you are misunderstood, and I think that there's an opportunity for you to have that redemption story that Stevie talked about in his stories. I think you deserve a second chance. It upsets me to see all this. It really does. It really hurts me to hear some of the things that said, things that didn't need to be said. I understand people were upset with you, and I get it. Grim, I want to talk about him. I'd never heard of him until I started doing this. And quite honestly, I don't know too much about him, but he actually seems pretty entertaining, and I don't know him. Stevie touched on a few things, like, there's an opportunity for you to do the redemption story, and I think you can. There's a few people in this business that I don't want to say didn't get that opportunity, because guys like Scott Hall, guys like X-Pac, they had the opportunities. Of course, Scott Hall's no longer with us, but this could be an opportunity for you to revamp your brand and you to also make wrestling 101 or whatever, professional wrestling 101 or whatever it was that you had, or even bring back your incredible podcast that you had. I think you need the right people. The people that you had on that podcast, again, I agree with some of them. They were not good at what they did. And I'm not saying I'm better. I'm just saying I kind of have an idea what to do. I'm going to say this. I think that I might have a different perspective on Justin Credible because of I truly loved my interaction with him, where some people scammed, and I'm not saying they weren't. He's somebody that needs help, and I hope one day he gets that help, and I hope one day I can interview him and actually see how he's really doing and give him a platform to really put himself out there. Again, I don't know Grim. I don't know Glocky very well. I did comment on his video asking if I could use his. He said yes. And I really want to take the time out to say thank you to all of them. Stevie Richards has said that, all the podcast brothers out there can use it. Hopefully he's true to that. We'll find out. Maven did an amazing job showing PJ that he knew off. I understand that there was some issues. I did a little digging, and I found out that apparently Maven had to stop the podcast because Justin, aka PJ, just had enough and just did not want to continue. And from what I gathered, it sounds like Maven actually paid a good penny to have him on there. There was no specific amount said, but Maven said in a podcast with Rene Dupree, is no longer available on YouTube for the record. Rene Dupree deleted all of his podcasts, but Maven did say that he paid him in full and he did not want to continue. Apparently, about a week or two later, he got some information that PJ was no showing for events and begging for money. Again, how much of this is true, I don't know, but he said it came from a reliable source. So I believe Maven. Not saying that PJ did anything wrong or right. I don't know. I wasn't there. Basing it off of information I gathered. But out of 10, I actually will give him a 10. Even though I never wrestled him, he actually took the time to try to better my career. He also talked to us and treated us as if we were equals and not him being actually a big-time wrestler compared to us that was just trying to make it. Again, PJ, the ball's in your court. I really hope that you can get your act together and hopefully get your podcast going and get all this stuff going, because you definitely have an opportunity to do a success story, and I would love an opportunity to be a part of it. I will be messaging you with the video or clips and showing this off, because I believe that Just Incredible has an amazing story that needs to be told, a story that needs to be put out there in a positive light. And I know I can do that. Just we'll talk about it. I will message you personally. Alrighty, guys. Your boy Starking Gaming. Got one more thing to say, and that is the final thing I need to do, and that is the phrase of the podcast. This phrase is going to be, let's just call it credible. Let's just go with credible. That is its podcast's phrase. Make sure you send me a message saying credible. You can be entered and you can win a Cash App giveaway or a PayPal giveaway. Thank you guys so much. Y'all take care.